Hello. Today's Tuesday, June 4th, and we're here with the news. Again, sans Wendell, but he will be back next week.
And we got a lot of complaints about the audio last week. We always get complaints about the audio.
We do, but we had a lot more than usual last week.
I listened to last week. It was bad. I'm not sure why. Made some adjustments, and to us, it sounds good. It might be happening in post-processing.
Yeah, I don't know, because when we listen to it in the headphones, I listened to it this week too.
And maybe, I mean, these headphones are not like the greatest headphones. These are the Steel Series headphones, but they're okay. I mean, they've got LED lighting.
How else are you supposed to know if the sound is good if you don't have LED lighting?
So I think we would know if it was that bad. So we'll see. But if it's bad, you know what you can do to help us is make a bunch of comments about it, because it's so helpful when you do that.
I don't. What did you turn on here? Wasn't it like auto something? Some
Correct,
auto mode?
level, correct.
Yeah, because it's like we don't even know anymore.
Also dropped the the auto cutoff levels and the gain. So it might be lower overall, but maybe less hissy.
Yeah, you might turn us up, but
responsive to the. I don't know. We'll see.
The air conditioner's on too, so maybe you'll hear that. Usually it doesn't get picked up, but
I think that has something to do with it, but I'm not turning it off.
No, it's very hot.
Even when Krista says it's very hot,
I don't have my blanket on underneath the table.
Asphyxiate.
Yeah.
Also, it's supposed to be 97% humidity tonight.
Ooh. You have a dehumidifier now, right? In your basement?
I do, and I'm obsessed with
the level on it.
The numbers.
You have to know.
If I come in the morning and it's 42, I'm like, yeah, 42.
You mentioned that, and my fiance was around, and now he wants one.
Oh, you should get one.
I was like, well, we can put that on a registry. He's like, I might get one before then. I was like, oh my gosh.
Very fulfilling.
Yeah.
Also, I've noticed, we've not even done the first story yet.
We haven't.
You know what? It's that kind of day.
Yeah.
The house centipedes.
Have they been coming in?
So the house, if you don't know about house centipedes, I was going to eradicate them. And the Twitch chat was like, no, they're beneficial. And I looked into it. Turns out maybe they are pretty good because they eat the other bugs.
But they're scary, though.
They are like hellish looking creatures, but I've grown to love them.
Yeah.
But the lower humidity is ravaging their numbers.
Well, because it's not, they get too dry, I guess. It dries out their exoskeleton. I don't know. Do they have an exoskeleton? I'm not an expert on.
I'm sure they do. They're mostly leg.
Yeah, it's like all leg and then that armor stuff on them.
They're like 90% leg.
Yeah.
Speaking of lower forms of life, let's finally get to our first news story.
FCC cuts bogus data from yearly broadband report, acts like nothing happened, and here's a picture of the lower form of life. Looking smug.
He always looks so
I don't know if they do that on purpose. Like, do you think the photographers always just pick the shot where he's like looking really self-assured?
But there's so many different pictures of him looking like that. So he has to do it fairly often.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe they did one photo shoot and they were like, look really self-satisfied, G? Also that tie.
What's wrong with his tie? Listen, I'm willing to crap all over him, but his tie looks fine.
Oh, is it not? I thought it was an American flag, but it's
no,
more like
it's just
cane, right?
Yeah, it's a candy cane.
I thought the shadow was blue.
No,
I was gonna say that's a little over the top. It's an American flag. Anyway, if you'll recall, the FCC put out a report. It was the rural broadband. Now we live in a rural area,
very rural,
so we could see that and we could immediately say, "Oh, that's not X."
That ain't right.
That's not true. We don't have broadband here. But he said, "Hey, things were going great. We had all this coverage," and it turned out one ISP reported 100% coverage when they had more like 0% coverage. Oops. Did they fix it? Well, not for a long time.
That was like a year, right?
It was a very long time. But they have now fixed it. And so how did that affect the overall report?
It didn't.
According to a GPI, things are still just as good as they were before.
No penalties. No, we're not upset with you. We're just happy you did it.
If rural broadband was good at those levels, it's good at these levels, is what he says. So, hey, can't argue with that, right?
Yeah.
You can, but no one's going to listen because he doesn't care.
Drinks from Reese's cup mug.
Now, while the FCC might be a little toothless when it comes to the technology companies, especially the ISPs, the Justice Department has gotten a little bit more bite to their bark lately, and they continue on with this big announcement.
Justice Department is reportedly preparing antitrust probe of Google.
Ouch.
Yeah. I mean, Google does have a large suite of products there.
Well, it's not the product so much as the advertising juggernaut. Google controls a ridiculous portion of online advertising, and they do a lot of terrible, terrible things to keep themselves in power, as we will find out later in the business section. One particularly egregious thing that they're doing. So the Justice Department says that ain't right, and they need to be broken up. Allegedly. I don't think we've gotten an official announcement yet, but do you really doubt this? It's going to happen.
I know this is terrible because it's probably ultimately a good thing, but like I just know this is going to make my life harder because I'm going to get calls from clients who are not just demanding to be at top of the Google, but they're going to be wanting to be at the top of whatever.
Bing.
Yeah, whatever things that they want to compete with Google.
Well, I imagine what'll happen is they'll break Google ads out into a competing company somehow. But they'll probably structure it in such a way where it's not really a competing company.
Yeah. It's both owned by Alphabet or something like. How would
no,
you do
you'd
that?
have to come out from under the Alphabet umbrella, probably. I mean, it wouldn't be good for Google, but
Ultimately, not that bad.
I don't
maybe.
think it would end up being super pro-consumer.
No.
They do point out that Google's been hit with a lot of big fines, like 1.3 billion, but the revenue was 137 billion. So
It's a small fraction of what they have.
in fact, it's almost 1% exactly. Yeah, not that big a deal. We live, some people would say that the police are doing God's work and they're angels, and anyone who criticizes them should be burned alive. And other people would say that we basically live in a police state and they do what they want and they're assholes. And usually that's the political spectrum, right?
Yeah.
For some reason, the right wing thinks they can do no wrong. The left wing thinks they're evil incarnate. And that's probably why a very politicized Supreme Court ruled like this.
The Supreme Court just made it easier for police to arrest you for filming them. Technically, you can't get in trouble for filming the police.
It is legal. In public, it's legal to film anybody.
Yeah.
So.
But, not the police, I guess. Well, it's technically still legal, but you can get in trouble and, like, you can't sue police departments for this.
It's a little more complicated than that. So what has to happen is, here's how it went down here, is you're filming the police. The police tell you to stop, because they don't always know the law, surprisingly enough.
Well, and they don't want a record of whatever they're possibly doing to break the law
that's
themselves.
The root of
Yeah.
it. Yeah, but I mean, some of them I think legitimately believe that they can tell you to stop.
Yeah.
So they tell you stop filming, and you say no, and they say, I'm going to arrest you. And you say, you can't do that. And then they do. And then you sue them. That's what you can't do anymore. You can't sue because of that arrest. And they don't ever arrest you for filming them. They arrest you for some other charge.
Disorderly conduct or
So, but if you have video proof that they did that right after telling you to stop filming them, then you have a pretty good case. Except now you don't have any case.
Not great.
Not good. I'm really, it's hard being someone who doesn't have a political affiliation, because a lot of the things the right-wing Supreme Court have done, I've been a fan of, because they've sort of gone on toward the liberty side of things. But then they do something like this, and I'm like, oh, not okay.
Yeah.
Not cool. The Navy have done a lot of interesting things. I remember the Air Force did some social media work where they were like trying to control the mood online. They had all these fake accounts.
Oh, yeah.
And they were like just trying to shape the opinion of things, especially things related to the military. The Navy also invented Tor, the onion browser, which probably they spied on in some way.
It's fine.
So it's weird when the military is involved in things like social media. You have to really be suspicious.
The U.S. Navy wants 350 billion social media posts from all over the world, correct?
They have to be a certain percentage from each country, or, no more than X from one country.
One country, yeah.
No more than X from one language. So they want to take all these social media posts and somehow learn from them. Probably some kind of machine learning AI.
Yeah.
To try to figure out how to spot things or how to move the narrative, perhaps. Who can say?
Maybe they should just take a page out of the U.S. Army book and just make commercials that look like commercials for the Wildlands game.
Navy has,
Do they do commercials for the Navy? I've never seen a commercial for the Navy. I see them for the Army all the time.
no, I guess it was the Marines who did that Godsmack. It was like the Godsmack song in the video, and they were
But you
doing,
know that went over with the key demographic.
yeah,
like,
yeah, they were doing like amphibious landings and stuff like
Yeah,
that. I mean, it does look exciting, right?
even though like I imagine if you're in a war zone, it's probably like what, hurry up and wait 90% of the time.
Probably, yeah. And you also have to think that only a certain portion are getting into, like, the things they're showing you in those videos are the special ops teams,
Yeah,
and most of you ain't special ops. You know,
you're special but not special ops.
some of you are going to be cooking
Yeah,
the entire time. So yeah, that's someone should make one of the, like, spoof those videos, but put just like footage of homeless guys and suicide numbers and
the
stuff
VA
like that.
line outside of the VA.
Apple. If we talk about Google being an evil corporation, sometimes we forget that Apple made it cool first, maybe? Back when Google was supposedly not being evil, Apple was
Per their own slogan.
Yeah, Apple was absolutely being evil. And this story reminds us that Apple is indeed evil.
We have a story like this every week. Apple sued by iTunes customers over alleged data misuse. Apple is allegedly sharing iTunes customer info with third parties. Is that? I mean, it's your personal info plus your song preferences, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
And your purchasing habits. So how much music do you buy? What kind of music do you like? And then everything else Apple knows about you, which is probably everything.
Yeah.
Right?
I could see that being really useful for like songwriters.
Yeah.
People like Taylor Swift, you know, it's like, oh, I need to stay relevant with the young people.
Well, I don't think as much for Taylor Swift as for the music companies deciding who's going to be the next Taylor Swift. Because maybe the Pop-Tart is out of fashion, right? Maybe all the iTunes users listen to rap.
That is kind of the way it's going anymore. It's
then
like
you
hip hop's
push-
having its day in the sun in the pop world.
Is it?
Yeah, it is. Like if you turn on the radio and put on the pop station here, it's more like hip hop rap kind of style stuff and not like pop music. Like there for a while it was, you know, like clubby
Do you think
kind of stuff.
the local
EDM.
radio station is using Apple data to determine that?
Maybe they're not, but their owner, iHeartRadio, probably is.
Oh, yeah. I guess the local stations, they just get sent playlists, right?
Yeah, probably. I don't think they have a lot of determinism about where they're going.
New York. This is not New
It's a
York
state.
City. This is New York State. But when you think of New York, you think of dystopia. Or at least I do, right?
I was thinking like the fall colors and Upper New, but okay, yeah.
Dense-
Dystopia.
Well, upstate New York, different.
Yeah.
But the problem is the legislation from New York City reverberates into the rest of the state.
Yes.
So it's picturesque and everybody's rich, but you're still in, the police state,
Yeah.
essentially. And this is a good indication of that.
A New York school district will test facial recognition on students even though the state asked for it to wait. The state was like, hey, we don't really have rules for this, or like we're not really sure how to use this technology or if it's safe to use, and school was like, nah, we're fine.
And it's always more sensitive when you're talking about children.
Yeah.
Because that just ignites something in. If
Well,
you
it's
have
a protective nature, I think.
once you've had children, you get that mental disorder. And anything that threatens children just terrifies you. Like, you can't think logically anymore.
Well, I'd say that's kind of true of like you with your cats too, though, right?
I would chop them up into tiny little chunks and eat them before I would betray liberty for those two cats. Let me tell you. And I love them. I love my fur babies. But no, I would not do that. At odds here, now here's the thing about it. The school's saying, don't worry, the children's faces aren't going to be in the system. So the idea behind the system is the people that go into it are people who aren't allowed in the building, right? Because sometimes people go through a divorce, somebody loses custody, they come and pick the kids up from school, and they're out.
Crazy grandma comes from across state lines.
Or just your garden variety of child abductors.
Yeah.
Right? Just shows up, picks kids up from school, takes them out. And facial recognition is supposed to stop that. But opponents of this are saying, well, you're still filming the kids, right?
I mean, they have to. Like, there's no way they can't.
You're
Yeah.
still looking at their faces. It's still an invasion of privacy. But they're doing it anyway. They don't care.
You think they'll get in legal trouble for this because the state told them, please don't?
I don't know. I also don't know if it's a public school. It must be because it's a New York school district.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't think you
honestly,
could get in trouble, but maybe they'll just say whatever.
but see, honestly, I think even if that goes to court, a good lawyer gets up there and it's like, think of the children, and they cite some of those cases that we just talked about.
Yeah. Someone
Little
came in
Timmy
and
went
took
home with his uncle and got chopped up and molested, and
in that order.
a jury is just going to let him walk because it's for the kids.
For the kiddies.
In New York City, you have some similar issues, but it's not the children. No, this doesn't protect the kids. In fact, does it protect anyone? Or is it all about control?
New York tenants fight as landlords embrace facial recognition cameras. I don't really understand what the landlord hopes to gain. Is it just entry to the building? Like,
Yes.
yeah.
So,
I guess because you have
and-
so many people in one building, it's not like apartments here. But
and this is kind of dumb in terms of people are like, no, if you have facial recognition, you're going to know when I leave and when I come back and who I'm with, and that's not okay. But they're using key fobs right now.
so I mean, they kind of already know. I mean, I guess they don't know if you have someone with you.
Yeah, well,
but-
they're absolutely tracking your coming and going.
Yeah.
But yeah, and they are basing this on somehow this is going to be anti people of color. I don't quite understand how that is the case, other than they say facial recognition doesn't work as well with them.
I was gonna say that would also be a possibility, and then you get
So-
locked out of your apartment because it thinks you're
That could be
someone
bad.
else, and then
Yeah.
then it's like not only is that bad just because it's annoying for the person who's trying to get into their building, possibly late at night, it's also bad from like racism kind of aspect as well.
What if you've done well for yourself as a
Done
young,
okay,
as
yeah.
a young man, a young black man, and you're living in a nice building, and you're out at the club, and you pick up a young lady, and you're like, you take her home, and she's like, "Oh my God, you live here?" And you're like, "Yeah, I'm somebody." And then you go up to the door, and the door's like, "Get out of here, bro. You don't live here."
Ooh,
Yeah.
won't someone think of the clubbers?
Listen,
That legal argument doesn't hold up in court as well.
an hour later, when you finally get in the building, you call somebody, the ecstasy is completely worn off.
And then
you're both crashing.
and it's
then
like, well,
she just
never-
goes right to sleep. I think you got a court case there. China.
right.
Let's talk about China.
Let's talk about China for like the next 6 stories.
But more importantly, let's talk about why things from China might be bad for us. For real this time.
Department of Defense bought phony military gear made in China, including counter night vision clothing that didn't actually work.
Ouch.
People are like, man, I really trust the U.S. government contractors, and it's like,
So this is some Metal Gear style technology. You wrap this cloak around yourself and power it on, and it hides you from night vision.
it's like the invisibility cloak in Harry Potter.
Except it only works for night vision.
Right.
So that's pretty cool, and I imagine pretty expensive.
Yes.
You got to think those are really costly.
And then they were probably like the price was jacked up even more because they knew who the buyer was, right?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Military contracts are insanely overpriced. I mean, Wendell loves to brag that we do a lot of work for the military. We've done a little bit of work for the military.
Not a lot, yeah.
But the work we did for them, good Lord, did they pay a lot of money for it.
Yeah.
So this story it's weird. There was one guy, he got a hold of one of these cloaks, sent it to China, which is probably some sort of treason in itself, right?
Yeah.
He was like, look over every inch of this, copy it down to the tags, everything perfect, except didn't actually do the night vision thing.
I kind of wonder if this was really like, I wonder if they handed it to the Chinese seamstresses and like didn't actually tell them how the technology worked. So they were like, well, I guess we'll just recreate the garments. Like, I don't
know. I think that was his goal, actually. Because
big if true.
if they did clone the thing, it probably would have cost almost as much as the original, right?
Yeah.
So, plus you're putting military technology into Chinese hands, which in
That's
this day and
probably
age,
the bigger.
he's going to be made an example of.
Yeah.
Although the original was probably made in China as well, so who knows? And also on the topic of China is not happy about the Huawei ban.
There's
Of
a lot
course
of
they're not.
a lot of Huawei stories this
And
week.
they're saying, hey, you know what? We're a country that does a lot of business too, bro.
Following U.S. Huawei ban, China threatens own blacklist for foreign firms.
Sick burn.
You too, US. No you.
Et tu.
Yeah.
So yeah, they've named possible candidates for this list to be the companies that rejected doing business with Huawei. So Google, Qualcomm, I know definitely like Microsoft and all the big names. Panasonic was up. So China's saying, hey, all you companies that did that, even though you were instructed by your government to do so under penalty of law, you might not be able to do business in China at all. And that would suck. If you're a Qualcomm and you can't do business in China, ouch.
I feel like everyone's just like cutting off each other's noses to spite their faces. Like,
Well, did you see what Trump did this past week?
which one? What thing?
The next tariffs, Mexico. And a
Great.
lot of stuff gets made in Mexico.
Hencho in Mexico.
And,
I've read the tags.
I think, what was the other one? There was one more. He was just firing off tariffs like left and right this week. Oh, India. He's taking, so this one I kind of agree with. India has like third world status with us as far as a trade partner. He's taking that away. So now they have to deal fairly. They don't get a bonus, like a discount or whatever. Which, the reason I agree with that, they have a space program.
They do now, yeah.
Once you get the space program, you don't get the discount anymore. You don't get the third world discount. But people are real upset about the Mexico thing. We don't get a lot of technology from Mexico, so it probably won't affect that too much. But we built some like cars and stuff there.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, is he trying to like push manufacturing back to the U.S.?
No.
I don't.
This one, this is totally political. He says once the illegal immigration numbers stop, he'll lift the tariffs. Yeah.
How? The logic there. I'm just not even. I'm not going to touch it with 10-foot pole.
Again, it's not technology related. But
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll get some comments on it.
Yeah.
IEEE. It's a consortium of engineers, and
What does it stand for?
it stands for
Internet Explorer,
electrical engineering, Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers.
Okay.
So they pass around these papers when you invent something new, something cool, and we do stories from them all the time on their website. They're like, look at this new battery, and then we never hear about it. It's like cool battery's been coming out for the entire time we've been doing Level 1 news.
Turns out they're terrible for the
You've never
environment.
seen one.
Yeah.
But these white papers go around and they do peer review, right? So like if you come up with something crazy and then it's like, okay, Bob, look at this and see if this is actually real or whatever. Well, guess who doesn't get to participate?
Huawei. IEEE, a major science publisher, bans Huawei scientists from reviewing papers.
Ouch.
Yeah, because, they're not trusted anymore.
Now they go out of their way to say they can still be members.
They can still pay the membership fee
They can go to the brunches if
and
they
pay
want
their
to,
membership brunch.
get the newsletter, but they will not be given any access to these white papers. Because why? Security risk. You can't trust them. You just can't trust them. And you can't trust, you were thinking to yourself, I bet the Huawei block is over. Wrong.
No, it keeps going. Huawei says its Android OS replacement launch date is still undecided.
Now that was not the headline when I added the story.
It says updated in parentheses there.
The headline was coming out in June.
That was the leak.
Big story. Not true.
Not true. Now they're thinking what, end of 2019, early 2020?
Yeah, Q4 19 or Q1 2020. I'm going to guess Q1 2020.
It's disappointing because I imagine, like, with that kind of deadline, they're probably just going to lift a lot of Android's UI and stuff. But I would love to see a UI for a language that's not English, and like that. Would it be different? Would they just take the same sort of cues that we already have? Like that could be a cool design project, but it's probably not going to be because it's rushed.
I imagine it won't be language specific because
I know.
Android isn't.
But like, how would a Chinese designer approach it compared to like American designers? Would it be different? Would it be the same?
Probably be more pragmatic.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see. It might not be that different at all, but
also you have to think that Huawei is more of a discount phone provider.
Yeah.
Right? They're on the really cheap end of the spectrum. So I wouldn't expect a lot from them.
yeah.
Probably going to be really utilitarian.
But that could be interesting. You could still learn lessons from that as a designer.
Cut out all the animation and the garbage and the tracking. Just make it fast.
Yeah.
That could be really great. Yeah.
But I kind of doubt that that's the direction they'll go. They'll probably just kind of lift what they can and then...
I think when you're trying to sell that to people, to the normies, they want a certain amount of flash.
Yeah. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. We won't see it till...
But also,
late
you got to
this year,
think,
but-
like, what are they going to do in terms of... You need Twitter to run on that thing.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be able to use either of the app packages from either of the app stores. So,
Ooh.
yeah.
Maybe that's what... Maybe they did think about releasing it in June, and then the developers were like, sir, like,
Yeah.
we can't do that.
Now we're done with Huawei. But are we done with China? No.
Never.
Not even close.
Chinese military to replace Windows OS amid fears of U.S. hacking. Which, I mean, to be fair, that's probably
You
a
can't-
thing.
I mean, what they're saying is, of course, Windows has lots of problems.
Yes.
It has bugs, it has backdoors, it has breaches. Of course it does. But are they on purpose? Maybe. I don't think we can say that they're not.
Maybe.
And the NSA in the past has certainly sought those kinds of things, if not been granted them. So, not a bad idea. The interesting thing here, much like Huawei, China is not taking anything existing. They are starting over from scratch, building their own operating system.
Again, could be a cool design change, but, you know, will it be any
Probably
good?
won't be. Now, their counterparts in evil communism are taking a different approach, but also eschewing Windows.
Russian military moves closer to replacing Windows with Astra Linux. Big day for Linux.
Huge.
As you can see by our wall of Linux updates back here, we didn't even bother changing the background because like, I don't want to click through all those notifications.
Not clicking those.
Yeah.
I suppose we could have rebooted it. That would have been faster, but I just didn't have the motivation.
So you guys get to enjoy that today.
Astra Linux is it turns out that not everybody uses Astra Linux in Russia. Some of them use other Linux distros. Some of them still use Windows, but they're supposed to move away from that. But Astra Linux is going to be like their official military use of it. And this is not a recent decision. They've actually been like doing military testing and making sure it's hardened enough.
And then trying to move stuff over to it.
And they've now decided that, yes, it's good enough. And of course, this article mentions Red Star, which was the North Korean flavor.
Oh,
Yeah. They have their own as well.
the worst flavor of Linux. Or the best.
This week we didn't have a lot of Euro news, so I decided not to interrupt the giant China block. So I put this at the very end about Germany.
A German minister wants access to encrypted WhatsApp and Telegram messages. He wants printouts of every message that comes through every day so they can read them.
So yeah, and it's kind of a toss-up, I would say. Does he understand that end-to-end encryption would have to be broken for even WhatsApp to read the messages in order to provide him the printout?
The fact that he wants printouts and thinks that like the volume of messages is such that he could read them day to day tells me
I don't think you physically have to put them on paper. I mean,
I like to imagine that's what he expects
in
though.
plain text is the
Yeah.
keyword there. But yeah, so maybe he understands that would break encryption. I don't think it would change his mind if
No.
he didn't understand that and you told him that. But he wants WhatsApp to provide in plain text any text that the German government deems that they need to read, which means that WhatsApp would have to break the encryption and record all of your messages, which is a big ask just in terms of data storage.
There's a lot of eggplant emojis in this. What does that mean, young man?
They have to have a special parliament.
Just to like decipher the emojis.
Should the eggplant be banned? Is this a vegetable of terror? And now we'll move on to security. Only 4 stories this week, which broke Chris's heart.
Oh, I saw this and I was like, ooh, praise be.
She's so security minded.
Oh, just thrilled that we only have 4 stories this week.
This one is perhaps a bit of galvanizes the Chinese/Russian choice.
Yeah.
Move away from the Windows platform. Although to be fair, This only affects really old versions of Windows.
Microsoft warns 1 million computers are still vulnerable to major Windows security exploit, so much so that they patched XP. Was that right? Like,
Yeah.
they actually reached down into the ether and were like, oh, we need to
So this
patch
is
this.
Bluekeep, and Bluekeep is a remote execution or remote access, RDP, I think is what it affects. And it only affects, I think, 8 and later if they are not fully patched. But they've discovered, of course they know based on what's on the internet, there are a lot of systems out there that are still vulnerable to this. And it's so powerful and so bad, they compare it to WannaCry, it will worm from one system to the next. So we could get a huge, horrible outbreak of this. Much like measles.
If only there was a way to prevent measles.
Well, if only there was a way to upgrade your Windows system.
If only. Those things will never happen, though.
The Linux users out there are swollen with pride. Like a tick on the back of a very lethargic dog.
I was thinking like a blister, but
No.
No.
Definitely like a tick. And they're thinking, oh, we got Russia, we got China, stupid Windows. They're constantly being backdoored. And, well, guess what? Guess what, Linux boys?
Advanced Linux backdoor found in the wild escaped AV detection. I read that strangely and I didn't register how it's supposed to be read. Also, we saw this exact same stock photo last week on a different story about a different backdoor.
Why would you have to announce that?
What? Did they use the same stock photo?
No, when I'm saying what kind of business needs a neon sign that says backdoor open?
I see like a shady one, I bet.
I bet there's going to be some joke comments.
There probably are, yeah.
So this is usually when Linux gets infected with things, it's stuff like crypto miners and kind of mild stuff. Rarely does something like this show up, which is literally taking over remote control of the
whole system.
the entire system.
Yeah.
And the antiviruses, for whatever reason, just didn't pick up on it. I bet it was because that's that illusion of security, right? We're Linux. We don't get infected.
No one ever tries to infect us.
It's like they don't even use condoms because they're so
Yikes.
confident. They think it can't happen to them, but it can. And it will. I think it's been patched, so just upgrade. As always, never, ever let any system, any operating system, especially Linux, go without an update. Never.
Never.
When we talk about AWS servers with no password, MongoDB, so many MongoDB instances. Azure, from time to time, will have this problem. And you think, I wonder how many individual files there are out there that have been compromised like that. Well, you no longer have to wonder.
ZDNet gives us a count. Cybersecurity, the number of files exposed on misconfigured servers, storage, and cloud services has risen to 2.3 billion.
Wow.
That's a lot.
That's only slightly more than Google was fined.
Everything has to be measured in Google finds now.
So yeah, this is simply quantifying the problem with unsecured databases and leaked files. It's bad.
It's possibly worse than we originally thought.
It's bad out there. ZDNet does sort of say, maybe this is a good thing though, because it's so bad that places like Amazon have had to add the default lockdown on your AWS servers. Whereas before, when you opened them up for the first time, they were just wide open. You had to put your own passwords and stuff. So.
And that, oh no, I was going to say that's the end of the
what?
security section, but it's not. There's one
No.
more.
And this one is also really bad.
Docker bug allows root access to host file system.
Ouch. So the problem here is a race condition. And no, I'm not talking about.
Okay. We all knew where you were going to go with that. Let's just.
Well, that's not about that, Kristen. So that has to do with when a computing system is trying to do two tasks and they need to be done in a certain order, but they can be done in different order. So like banking software, for example, if two people are using it at the same time. The way this works is if you have a symbolic link, the Docker system has a process to check that symbolic link and look at the destination and see if the Docker system should have access to that destination, right? So what you can do is after that check has been made, slip a new symlink in there, redefine it, and then when it gets back around to making the copy, it's like, oh, we've already checked this. This is good, but it's not good anymore. In fact, it's bad. And you can copy your malware loader wherever you want on the file system outside of the Docker. Do you refer to those as docs? I don't think you do.
Dukes.
Anyway.
Docs.
Bad news. They don't have a fix for this yet, but that was May 28th. They might by now. I imagine they're working pretty furiously on this.
Recording date June 1st today.
Or 2nd.
Oh, yeah. Yesterday was the 1st. Dates are hard. And I was at a graduation party yesterday, so.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm. My little baby cousin. Yeah. He's going out in the world.
I hate it when people have graduation parties for anything other than high school and college.
Oh, yeah. He's high school. He's done.
Yeah.
Going into the family plumbing business.
Did you buy him some liquor?
No. Well, he's 18. He's not 21.
Bag of weed?
No.
No?
No. We gave him like $100. I told him to put it in his savings and be responsible.
So
he probably won't do that.
You by proxy bought him both liquor and weed.
No, he'll probably put that into his cars. He likes to do stuff with his cars. He's always tinkering with it.
Yeah. He tells Aunt Krista he likes to do things with his cars. He likes to do things in his cars.
Yeah.
That are motivated by
Let's hope not. Oh, I told him to be responsible. Save your money. Save your money. Save your money.
Oh, 36 minutes. We knew this one was going to be short, though, this week. Because
Yeah.
there weren't a lot of stories. But tomorrow, there'll be a little bit more. So tune back in.
We'll be back.
If not for the quality of the stories or the reporting, just for the crystal clear audio.
Oh, yeah. And all the great Linux updates in the back. We're sure they're great. We'll install them one day.
Maybe.
Hello, everybody. Today is Wednesday. It's June 5th. And I forgot what sections we're on. I know hardware's in here.
Business.
Business.
We have merged hardware into business. Because what is hardware, really? It's business.
Not my favorite section, but that's fine. There is some news this week.
What is your favorite? You hate everything.
I like nonsense. I like design. I like AI and robots. I don't mind the social media section either.
We have...
it depends on the week, but
we don't always
sometimes
have a
it's on
design
Facebook.
section, but we do. But that's going to be Friday.
We do today
can
this
tease
week.
that.
It's only like 2 stories, but
Well, you might hate the business section, Krista, but you can't help but be happy about this one, right?
yes, the font's too small for me to read. But it is iTunes is going away. It's disappearing forever.
How old was iTunes since you can't read that?
That probably came out in like what 99,
You're very close. Yes,
2000.
it's 18 years old.
Wow. It's just now legal and they're putting it down. To be fair, who still uses iTunes?
Sending it off to war.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of Mac users still use it because, if you want to put stuff on your Apple devices and,
Yeah, I
Mac
have an
people,
old
they're all
iPod.
about the Apple ecosystem. They have all the devices, right? So
I have an old iPod that I got when I was like 16 that I still use.
they're going to replace it with a generic music app that they're building. I don't care.
Yeah.
I actually do have an old iPod somewhere. One of the little ones.
Yeah, I still use mine like in my car. I would like to add new music to it, but I don't want to deal with iTunes, so I don't know, and I doubt
Why don't you just use your phone?
because all my old music's on the old one.
Oh.
I got screwed. Well, it's also on my very old laptop, which will boot, but it takes forever to do anything. I need to move all of the music off of it onto something else, but
You need to just move to a service. It's $8 a month, Krista.
I just got rid of Netflix, so I wouldn't have to pay. Theirs is more than 8 now.
I got to get rid of Netflix.
We have a story about that.
Another product that I know that you were a huge fan of, and you weren't even remotely critical about,
No, not
was
at all.
YouTube gaming.
Yeah. Google kills its Twitch killer. The YouTube gaming app shuts down this week. Surprising nobody because who was this aimed at? Like Twitch already does it better. It would have been different if they had like maybe tried to focus more on videos or like, promoting what was it, the multicam setup we used to do on YouTube. I don't think YouTube gaming you could do that. So it was like, why
I
use
think
this?
YouTube has changed that again.
They have, yeah. It's
Yeah. Well, but I think no, I don't think that would have saved them. Very few people do that. But
they might have though.
what they
We would have
couldn't
used
do,
it.
they couldn't reproduce Twitch was such a weird microcosm of people.
Well, and it's changed a lot because it used to be Justin TV and like
Right.
it's,
But
it's
yeah, I
really
think
evolved over the years.
what happened was they started a service that was all about videos to compete with YouTube. And then they figured out, it was like, wait, people just want to watch video games.
So just stream it, yeah.
Yeah. But, well, I mean, it was always streaming, but
Yeah.
But now, of course, Twitch is kind of going the other direction, right? They're going IRL and doing stuff.
Well, that's what
other
Justin TV used to be. Like it wasn't just video games.
That's what I'm saying, though. But
Yeah.
are they flying too close to the sun? Are they pulling a YouTube gaming?
Well, Twitch is trying also to do video where you can upload a video to your channel the same way that you might on YouTube, but like their UI is so bad that it's actually hard to find that feature. So I don't know. Maybe they're trying to do the same thing, but trying to compete with YouTube, but their UI is such that it's not not a very good experience.
I think YouTube should worry more about the horrible experience for its content creators
Yeah.
rather than gaming.
They should also make it easier to find things I'm interested in. I'm in like kind of a YouTube rut. I've watched all my favorite channels and like now I can't find anything else.
I don't have any problem with that. I do find that weird, interesting things creep into my recommended feed.
See, I
And
struggle with that.
They're pretty spot on most of the time.
It's like, wow, I am interested in that.
You know that T-Mobile and Sprint are trying to merge.
Yes.
Trying
We've done several
desperately.
stories about that.
And the merge overlords have said, we may let you do this, but if we do, you will not keep Boost Mobile.
Yes.
You must spin it off. It must become its own business. And a certain supervillain raised his eyebrow.
Exclusive. Amazon interested in buying Boost from T-Mobile and Sprint, say some sources. There's always a bigger fish. It seems like,
Well, except he's the biggest, right?
he is the biggest, and it seems like that would kind of defeat the purpose, but
Oh, Amazon, of course, isn't in the phone or phone service game at all.
that could change
So
if
you
they buy
wonder
Boost.
if maybe they've been working on something. A lot of people think maybe they want Alexa to get wireless connectivity.
Maybe.
Maybe put Alexa in your car. I mean, you've already got your phone with Alexa on it, though, right? I mean,
Do you think she'd get car sick?
no.
No.
I don't think she would. I don't think she's got any sort of.
She's got the inner ears of a champion.
They're not fluid based,
Yeah.
so she's immune to that. Epic.
Another reason to buy her.
Epic Game Store. People are angry. They're angry at the Epic Game Store. They're angry because the exclusivity deals, that's the big one. They're angry about, the evil Tencent corporation being involved. They're just angry overall. And everybody hates them. A lot of people aren't even sure why they hate them, but they do. They have that sale, and I went to their website. They don't have a lot of games for sale. They've got like 20 games.
But you should buy them because they're epic. And
The other thing I thought about, I bet you can't cross-platform between Epic Game Store and Steam, right?
probably not.
I mean, the
no.
game itself might allow that, but Steam has that nice invite feature.
Yeah, and the overlay, and yeah.
I'm curious about that. Anyway, not a new player, but an existing player who has also tried to compete with Steam and failed, has decided to back Steam in this.
Microsoft will distribute more Xbox titles through Steam and finally support Windows 32 games.
Much like YouTube gaming, the Windows Store
Kind of
games
garbage.
didn't really catch on.
Turns out no one wanted that.
People weren't. And they tried to do those Windows 10 exclusives.
They did.
And that, not super successful. They're going back to Steam, crawling back. And they're saying, yeah, we're going to start putting Xbox titles on Steam.
It's a weird issue, isn't it? Because it's like, on one hand, you kind of want the variety, because it's, better for the consumer. But at the same time, it's like, man, Steam just does it better.
Steam has been.
They have some things that are bad, but like they just do it better.
Steam had a lot of goodwill because they didn't screw you for so long.
Yeah.
For many years, Steam was benevolent. I think they're kind of moving away from that.
Probably, yeah.
Did you see? So Steam, they have that controversy about like certain games they've kicked off of Steam. They have those like a white supremacist game and one of those hyper violent type games
That they kicked off.
And people were like, is this really, you shouldn't be making decisions. Have you seen the Maid game that's on Steam?
Which one?
It's literally like interactive pornography.
I mean, there's lots of games like that in the trending section.
I'm not talking about anime girls with their boobs out. I'm talking about full hardcore.
Oh.
Yeah. And the Steam screenshots, you're like, wow, really? Really, Steam? But apparently, Steam has explicitly allowed that because interactive pornography is part of video gaming.
I wonder how they deal with like underage. Like, do they like if you're considered underage? Do you think they like hide those kind of games? Or?
Oh yeah, you got to do like the 18 years old thing,
which of course keeps all children out of things that they're not supposed to be in.
But it is interesting because Steam seems to be sort of in this limbo of like,
do we police it? Do we not?
Yeah, and then when the Epic Game Store comes along, how are they going to deal with that? Interesting time to be alive. But as you say, competition's almost always good. And even if it's evil corporations, maybe the Epic Game Store isn't where you want to do business, but it's going to force Steam
to up their game, hopefully.
Hopefully, as you say. You know who else is upping their game? And by that, I mean raising their prices. It's Netflix.
Netflix to raise prices for UK subscribers up to 20%.
Now, this is not...
What do they pay in US in freedom units?
Let me track it down here, Krista. So for a standard plan, they pay $5.99 moon units. And for the premium plan, they used to pay $8.99 moon units. Now they will pay $11.99 moon units. And then they have like the HD plan, which I don't see listed here, but it's more. Or like the super premium. I'm going to have to look that up later. I think that matches what we pay, right? Because we pay right at $13 or $14, right?
I think so.
Yeah. And with the currency exchange. So they're basically just moving the Brits up to where we are right now.
I got rid of my Netflix a long time ago.
I'm going to.
It's not worth it.
Because I realized that's like one bag of cat food.
That's how you measure the cost of things anymore. Is like
be saving one bag of cat. Actually, no, the bag is $18. It's one variety pack of 12 cans of wet food.
You buy like nice food for your cats.
Listen, the cats.
Rue gets like middle of the road.
They couldn't poop. I fed them the garbage.
Did you try just putting them on they were already on sensitive stomach, weren't they?
That was the vet food.
Oh, okay. See, I put Rue on sensitive stomach.
I'm not
and she's
taking
fine
the risk. You know what?
Yeah.
And I swear, I think they're growing a lot more after I started giving them the real food.
They may just be entering adolescence.
No, I think they're super powered from that expensive cat food.
Swole.
Here's a story that makes me so angry. Now, of course,
I don't use Chrome that much, so it doesn't bother me.
I use for my work, because we do web development a lot here. If I'm doing web development, I will develop in Firefox. And I will leave my ad blocker turned off in Firefox because I don't want that to interfere with anything that I'm working on. But for my personal browsing, in another window, it's Chrome with an ad blocker. And guess what?
Google to restrict modern ad blocking Chrome extensions to enterprise users. My cadence, for whatever reason, sometimes when I read these titles, like...
Is it the vision?
No, it's like I start to read it and I think the sentence is going to end a different way than it does. So like I adjust my cadence accordingly and then it's like, oh wait.
Hyper-threading.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Anyway, so what they're saying is, unless you are a paying enterprise user of Google, they will not allow ad blocking. Now, they will actually allow ad blocking. But what they're doing is they're changing the API. So they've got this function call. And what it allows you to do is it allows you to check the destination of your whatever you're downloading against a list. And if it matches that list, you simply just do not get it, right? That's how the ad blockers work. They're crowdsourced, and once you get on that list, nothing gets through the ad blocker. Google is getting rid of that function call. So now you have to use a different function that doesn't let you stop it before it downloads. And currently, that list, that new function, is limited to 20,000 entries to check against. Whereas standard uBlock, I think, has more than 75,000 blocked domains.
I think they will regret this decision, and this will tank Chrome's market share.
Well, it's obvious. Google says they're doing it for security purposes, quote unquote, but well, they're 50% of the advertising market. They're an advertising company. Of course they don't want ad blockers. It makes total sense.
This just is further proof that Firefox is the master browser.
Could be, but I don't know. I don't know if this will burn them or not.
I think it will. Well, I guess it depends, because how many of the normies ad block?
It's getting to be more and more.
Yeah, I say, like, I put it on my mom's computer, but she didn't know that that was a thing. She was like, oh, you don't have to watch the ads? I was like, no. Like on YouTube and stuff.
And I'm all for, I mean, we're on YouTube. We like it if you watch the ads, although we get demonetized pretty consistently.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. But I get it, but I think it has to be done a different way.
Yeah.
There has to be some new paradigm.
Well, the issue is that these pages just flood you with them. It's not like just one banner ad. It's literally like every inch of free white space is ads,
And
which as a designer I hate, but also as a user.
The other issue is it's not just advertisements. It's those tracking scripts, the click trackers.
And there's so many, they can't just stop at one.
Yeah.
Like it's like you have to add like 5 or 6, and it's, do we really need this many?
So
yes,
it
we need
is,
them all.
they've gone too far. But they're going further. So we'll see. Now, Krista, you've been waiting. You've been biting your lip in anticipation. It's the hardware section.
Yes. Oh, great. Awesome.
Big week last week. I saw we had a couple of angry comments like, they didn't even cover AMD, Intel shills. It happened after we did the news.
Yes, we didn't have time to do anything from Computex or any other news, so.
Well, Wendell posted a video.
He did later, but that happened
That was
after
also
we recorded, yeah.
Anyway, some big announcements in the hardware world.
PCI Express 5.0 announced with, 32, I don't know what the GT's transfer rates. Gigatransfers. Moon units. Continue. You read this story.
There's not much to read.
Well,
this is literally
like that's it, right?
That's literally the whole story. So basically, PCI Express 5 is out. It's faster.
Are you excited about this? Does this change anything in your build?
We're not getting this anytime soon. They point out that PCI Express 4 is only in certain products. So PCI Express 5
it's still a pipe dream.
Not that exciting.
A dream of spring.
It exists. We'll get it eventually.
Unlike Dream of Spring.
I'm not. When it's good, keep moving it forward, right? I swear, the games I play these days are so not demanding, and I do so little of it. I think I'm getting old enough to where
You just don't care anymore?
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. Maybe if I had more free time. Maybe if I didn't have cats and a yard. Maybe during the winter.
When you're actually in... Yeah, because your yard will, it'll just be covered in snow and mud during the winter.
And the cats will be dead.
In the winter?
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to kill them before then?
I figured stop feeding them, right?
Yeah. Well, it's too expensive. You got to save food for yourself.
The big announcement. The Team Red fanboys were turgid with excitement.
They were all over our chat when this was announced.
So annoying. Some of the most annoying human beings on the planet. But again, good news, right? Because this is big competition in a market that needs competition.
AMD unveils the 12-core Ryzen 9 3900X at half the price of Intel's competing Core i9 9920X chipset. Again, the cadence is a little off there, but it's fine. Look at this great picture of Lisa Su.
She is excited.
She is excited.
Triumphant, you might say.
Now, someone should Photoshop her so she's like flipping off the crowd.
I don't want to get into too many details because you can all read them for yourselves. You probably already have. 12-core, 24-thread. But the big number, I see what's the boost, 4.6 gigahertz boost, but the big number is that one right there, Krista. Can you see that?
No, I can't. It's too small for me.
$499
a good price.
versus the $1,200 Intel competitor.
Oh. Intel's already like not having a great year, and that probably was just like a nail in the coffin.
You can literally buy 2 of them. And that's the flagship. Of course, they have another 2 or 3, I think it's 2 more processors in this lineup that are cheaper and lower power. But you're starting at 500, you're going down. Not bad. Also, legitimate 7 nanometer. Just to rub it in the face of Intel, it's like, these really are 7 nanometer. They also announced the 5000 series GPUs that will be coming out. That will be the Navi platform. But we don't know much about those.
Yeah, I was gonna say those they're gonna talk about those at E3, right?
E3.
Yeah.
Big announcement for E3. Chris, I thought you might enjoy this one. Now, we know we've got Team Red and Team Green, the big players. And people get really angry if you use the one that they don't like.
Yeah, they do.
Ooh. But Blue is trying to get back in the game, that discrete GPU market. They're like, we're going to make them. They're going to be good, I promise. No, seriously, we're going to. And they have some interesting mock-ups here.
Let's take a look. First one, what are your thoughts?
I thought that you would read the headline.
I can't read that from here.
Intel Odyssey, Futuristic 2035 GPU collection. It's totally wild. Driver advancements, game updates are released.
This one's okay. This one's like a gender reveal party.
Oh, pink and blue?
Yeah.
Except,
You think you can change the colors probably? There's probably a setting for that.
Yeah, maybe.
Because they have the software screenshots in there too.
So this is their management software that they're going to have for their GPUs, which, yeah, looks fine. Pretty much everybody's got this, though. I mean, it's not breaking any new ground. And then we've got, I suppose that's the one we just looked at, but it's the top of it, which is, kind of cool. Going to give you some stats right on the card. That's useful. Then you got this guy, the Gemini.
That one, that's fine. Like I don't have any strong feelings about it. It's fine.
It's maybe a little more adult looking than your usual GPU.
Yeah.
There's the back. Pretty standard stuff on the back.
Yeah.
You got this.
This one, this is the one I thought was cool.
Do you think the lamp comes with it?
Oh, we can only hope. It's like a steampunk kind of style. That would be cool for a themed build, like if you did like a Fallout theme or something.
This is the Oblivion.
Oh.
That's the back of it.
Kind of interesting that they went with the name Oblivion. But
not everybody's an Elder Scrolls nerd, Krista.
But like when I looked at that, my first thought was Fallout. And it's
That's
like another
true,
Bethesda
yeah.
property.
So this is the Andromeda.
I like this one. This one's really neat looking.
I don't know where the fans are in this
Yeah, this one, it's very like, I wouldn't even know what that was if you just showed that to me without any context.
It's definitely a departure. I don't really care what my GPU looks like, to be honest.
Yeah, mine's all, I mean, like I have a glass side on my PC, but it's like stuffed at the back of my desk and I have all my monitors in front of it, so I can't even enjoy it.
I meant to add it and I forgot. But did you see the new Asus motherboard that came out? I think they like totally redesigned the motherboard completely. They're putting the GPU on the back, and they have all kinds of little digital displays and stuff on it.
So you can see all your stats.
That was an interesting take on the motherboard. Probably be $700. But
yeah.
It was interesting. You could look that one up. I can't remember what they called it.
Speaking of interesting hardware and visual decisions.
Yeah, I was curious what you thought about this. This seems like maybe something that a solution in search of a problem.
Yes, yes. The Asus ZenBook Pro Duo is an extravagant laptop with 2 4K screens.
Now, when you say 2 4K
it's not really
screens,
2. It's more like 1.5.
It's a half height.
So you have the one full screen like a normal laptop, and then where your keyboard is, there's just half. And I find this to be a strange. Like, who is the user base for this? They do show a picture here where someone's playing the piano on the half screen.
Well, now they do bring up, of course, the Apple users that have the touch bar, which seems to be popular, right? And this is like a touch bar on steroids. But I look at this little cramped keyboard.
Yeah, and I'm thinking that's going to be uncomfortable to use. And like, how often will I use applications in this way?
And you got your mouse over here. Not sure about that. This now, when you look at it from this angle, it looks smaller, but the real one that I look at that really makes me look at how big that screen is the side view.
Is this person signing something, or is she trying to draw? Because like drawing in that form factor, that would be terrible.
Also, if you put your
you're gonna hit
you're
the
gonna press
touchpad.
keys. You're gonna press keys.
It's
right?
just it's a baffling decision, I think, to do this. It's like I give points for creativity, but maybe this is something that should have stayed in the mock-up phase and not actually
Now
been created.
This is a beastly laptop too. It's an i9 with a RTX 2060 GPU, and so a battery life is not going to be great, especially with the. Oh no, wait, that's the lower one that's got the 2060. This one is
I can't see that far.
even more powerful, I think. Anyway, it's a badass laptop, and the step down is same setup, but not 4K 1080 screens instead.
No.
But you still have the 1.5.
I don't know about 1.5. I just don't know. I appreciate the idea. I just don't think it. I'm struggling to find what user would want that functionality.
I suppose. I mean, it is. If I was going to do work on a laptop and I only had the laptop to work on, I imagine. I guess if I had my email on one half of the little screen, and maybe like instant messages on the other half, and I could still work half and half on the 4K.
Yeah, I guess that would be okay.
But for the price,
I just
probably would pass it up.
Yeah.
Anyway,
What if Wendell comes back and he's like, "Oh, I really want one of these."
that wouldn't shock me at all.
Really? I don't know if he would really want that, but maybe. Wendell kind of wants whatever tech.
Yeah.
The newest thing.
SpaceX.
A true enthusiast.
SpaceX is perhaps the only Musk property that is consistently successful.
Yes. Well, because everyone loves space.
Well, not everyone.
I guess not flat earthers.
I bet some people are terrified of space.
Oh, I'm terrified. I'm terrified of space, but I do love reading about it.
I know some people who are, for some reason, like completely terrified of black holes.
Yeah, well, you should be. You're going to be spaghettified. It's a rational fear.
But anyway, SpaceX, everybody loves them. They seem to be doing a good job. They've lowered the cost of space travel. Who can argue with that? Well, I'll tell you who. Astronomers.
SpaceX Starlink satellites dazzle but pose big questions for astronomers. Questions mostly, how are we supposed to see the night sky for all these damn Starlink satellites?
There they go.
Like a marquee on a 90s website.
Donner and Dasher.
Scrolling across the sky.
Blitzen.
Oh, I bet you could tell kids that. That would be kind of cute, wouldn't it? Look, there goes Santa.
So an astronomer posted this. He was looking at the night sky, and this is what he could see because the glare from these guys were drowning out all of the background stars. These are the what are they called? Starlink satellites.
They're reflecting the sun.
There are 62 of these. Eventually, there will be 1,200.
So you get a huge ticker tape going across the sky.
Well, they won't be arranged like that. They're eventually going to separate out and become a giant grid. And apparently, when they do that, they will turn their solar panels away, and they won't glow as much, but they will still be bright in comparison with the stars in the background. And so astronomers are saying, this is bad.
Please don't.
Now, here's the cool thing.
But it is kind of cool, though.
Here's the really cool thing about the Starlinks, right? 5 years after the Starlinks have been up there, their job will be done. What will they do? They will fly into the atmosphere purposely. There'll be a mass Starlink suicide 5 years from now.
Look, here comes Santa. And then just the whole ticker tape comes down.
So, SpaceX is defending it, saying it's going to be super useful. It's going to get people the internet. And if they become a problem, we'll just send them into the atmosphere.
We'll just kill that whole investment. It's fine.
5 years, that is a lot of money to invest for 5 years.
Yeah.
Although, with the speed of technology and
they might not even be good in 5 years.
You have to think that it will be so cheap to launch space missions by then. You just put up another set. Batch, right? Uber is they've got some problems. And the problem
Good summary.
The problem, aside from the burning money, they had their first earnings report.
Not good.
Not good. They're the first one after the IPO, and so they've decided that what they're going to do is go after their passengers.
Uber will start deactivating riders with low ratings.
All right. So when you Ubered recently, right? Didn't you say you Ubered recently?
Well, recently being like a year and a half ago when I went.
What did you rate your driver?
Oh, I wasn't the one who called the Uber. It was one of my friends.
What did your friend rate the driver?
Probably 5 stars because they had mints in the back and
Oh,
brochures for the
wow.
city we were in. So you could like find stuff to do while you're riding in the Uber.
So you rate your driver rates you. And if they point out some of the things that people do, maybe get racist.
I could see that, unfortunately.
People
That's a
can
sad
get
state of
racist in this
human
Uber. They can
kind.
just brazenly have sex in your Uber. Not welcome. Not advisable.
Not allowed to have any mints or brochures if you do that.
One of the big ones that they'll do that we're going to talk about later. Did we put that right after this? We didn't, did we?
No, don't let it freeze.
That was an oversight.
That was an oversight.
Vomiting in the Uber.
An Uber site, if you will.
Not something that you want to do is vomit in your Uber.
Yeah.
Of course, I doubt you're doing it on purpose. But anyway, if your score is too low, and this will be decided on a city-by-city basis, right? So New York, Uber low is not the same as our.
You must
our
be like the
prime
real
city.
scum of humanity if
Yeah.
you're like banned from Uber in New
So
York.
it's all about the average.
Yeah.
So if you're below the average enough, you'll be banned. What if someone gets Uber banned because they're mean and racist, and then they get behind the wheel of a car and drunk drive and kill somebody? Somebody's going to sue Uber.
You think?
Oh yeah.
Well, can't taxi cabs also do the same thing though, where they can deny a passenger? I mean, that's.
For being drunk?
I think they can just deny him for any reason, wouldn't they? Like,
I mean, you should be able to. Yeah, sure.
I don't know. I don't know enough about
Well, you
taxi
can
cabs
also
to say.
you can sue anybody for any reason
Oh yeah.
in this country. So it will happen. Amazon, once they've gobbled up Boost Mobile and launched their evil wireless scheme, whatever that is, they're going to have to cut some corners somewhere else, right? Free up a little money.
Yes.
They've decided how to do that.
Amazon is poised to unleash a long-feared purge of small suppliers. It's bad news for the management team at Amazon who were taking care of those suppliers.
They call them, of course, the mom and pops, which is ironic because Amazon put the mom and pop retailers out of business. So presumably, Ma and Pa, they shut down the corner store and they said, you know what? We're not going to give up. We're going to make it. We're going to become wholesalers. And we'll sell to this Amazon behemoth and we'll still make a living. And now they'll be shut down again.
It's bad news.
Amazon wants you to be a third-party seller on the marketplace, not wholesale to them. Because they have to hire managers. And they don't want to provide those managers. They want to cut their managing staff. And their suppliers make everybody become third-party wholesalers. Or not wholesalers.
I think that makes sense though for them. Like, I mean, there's a lot of things to demonize Amazon for, but like wanting people to manage their own inventory and stuff, I don't think that's the worst thing in the world.
Problem is, I'm always suspicious of those third-party guys.
I am too from
because
time to time, which is also maybe not good.
They will counterfeit. They'll also do the weird thing where it's like free shipping, but it's not prime shipping. So it takes
you don't get
2
it.
weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not crazy about that. But you're right. It makes sense for them to do it. Because why would they bother with all the logistics when they could have somebody else do it?
Yeah.
5G, Krista. Your excitement level for 5G. Why don't you quantify that for us?
Like 5 out of 10. 5G out of 10. 10 Gs.
Well, you're never going to get it.
No. Well, no,
Well,
not
I mean,
where we live.
Someday you will. But
When there's already like a 7 or 8G, it'll come here.
the first phone you get for your teenage daughter will be 5G.
Yeah.
What age are you going to give your kid a phone?
Probably when they start driving. I don't know.
No way. Mark it down, folks.
Folks.
Chat.
With an L, folks.
I'm going to say 7 years old.
No. That's way too young.
Chat, mark it down. Mark
too
it
young.
down, chat. We will revisit this. And
Earliest I could see would be like maybe 12.
in
If they're
8.2
starting to like do
years,
sports or something, maybe, so they can keep in
Krista,
touch with us.
everybody in that 4th grade classroom is going to have a phone.
Well, listen. Little Patricia.
We're going with
No,
Patricia?
we're not calling our kid Patricia. That's not happening.
Oh, way to throw shade at all the Patricias out there.
Oh yeah,
Pat?
all 0 of them in our community.
Oh, there might be
I would
some-
actually be amazed if we had enough females that statistically a Patricia was possible.
There might be some Patricks who've transitioned in our audience.
I think that's even less likely.
Well, anyway, back to 5G. The BBC decided to do something historic. They decided to broadcast an on-location interview. Guy, he was reporting on 5G over 5G. How amazing, right?
It's very meta. BBC goes to conduct its first broadcast over 5G immediately. Hits the data cap.
Ouch.
I like this picture of the guy where he's like, "What's just happened, Jim?" Except in a British accent.
So, yeah, the SIM card that they had for their 5G modem immediately hit the cap. Do you know who made that 5G modem? Huawei.
Ooh. Yikes.
This is the story that should have come
It
after
should
the
have.
other Uber
Yeah,
story. What an oversight. We talked about vomit fraud.
An Uber site.
What's the worst that could happen if you vomit in someone else's car?
You die. Uber passenger's death draws attention to vomit fraud allegations in ride-hailing business. This is actually kind of a sad story. The 2 guys get into an Uber. They've been massively drinking and they're drunk. And one of them throws up, as you do when you've been drinking. Allegedly throws up. And the Uber driver goes to take a picture of it because they have to do that so they can get a ride cleaning fee, which is like $150. And the guy was like, please don't do it.
Well, he put him out of the car immediately.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And here's the thing about it. I don't know why it's alleged because, well, to finish the story, the drunk guys pick a fight with him. He shoots one of the guys, kills him.
Yeah.
It said that he shot him an undetermined number of times. Seems like you could count.
Yeah.
So that becomes a murder investigation. Of course, they took pictures of the car, so we'd have to know if there's vomit or not, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, they didn't arrest the driver, which makes me think that there was indeed vomit. And there was probably
And the guys were actually being violent toward the driver.
But the family of this guy is suing both Uber and the driver. And the driver's been kicked off of Uber in the meantime.
Well, I kind of understand that on Uber's point. I mean,
Uber has a rule you're not allowed to carry a gun, even though you have crazy murderers and drunks.
Yeah, people getting in your car all the time.
Which is ridiculous. And they probably were trying to attack him.
But yeah, apparently this is a thing though, like some Uber drivers who are maybe a little less ethical will fake someone vomiting in the car, take a picture of it, and then use that to collect the fee from the person who rode, regardless of whether they threw up or not.
And that can be up to $150.
Yeah.
Do you think, so you do have to take a picture of it, and I imagine they have some way of trying to catch if you use, pre-existing pictures. Do you think there's a hardcore Uber driver out there
who sticks his finger down his throat?
Yes, that's exactly
we were saying like cream corn. You could fake that pretty easily.
You think, okay, here's another question. Is there somebody on the Uber staff that is like a vomit inspector?
It's like, that doesn't look real to me, sir.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
sir, this is dog vomit.
when I was like 12, I went over to my friend's house and we decided we were going to try to make fake vomit, make our own video effects, decided to make our own vomit. And we mixed up a bunch of random food in her fridge and then put it in the closet because we didn't want her mom to find it. And then she forgot about it. And they found it months later and her mom was furious with her. Fun story from my childhood.
There was a guy in college who had something in a thermos.
Something.
We don't know what it was.
Yeah.
He didn't remember what it was. And by the time it was opened, and that was stored in a drawer for the entire semester.
Ooh.
And then on move out day, he opened it.
What was in it? Was it just mold like that?
It was the most rancid. I mean, it cleared like 3 or 4 rooms. We all had to evacuate because it was just.
Wow.
It was overwhelming, the smell that came out of that thing.
I wasn't there when they opened that, but I know my friend got in trouble for it.
So, did you ever use the vomit for anything?
No, we just thought we'd make it. I think the plan, we were like 10 years old, we were like, we'll take it to the fair and we'll fake vomit somewhere and it'll be funny. Because, you're 10 and you're terrible and
Some poar fair janitor
I
has to
know, exactly.
put the desk
We didn't use it though.
Sweep it up.
I don't know why we thought that would be fun when
How's
we were
that
10.
even a prank?
It's
like,
not.
it's like you run up and you're like, oh, it's fake vomit. But it's like, oh, it's still a pile of shit I gotta clean up. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm not saying that what we did was right or that it makes sense, but that's what we did when we were 10 years old at a sleepover, and then got in trouble when it was found months later.
Modern, young Krista Jr. will do that, and she'll tweet about it, and you'll find out.
Yeah, well, or it'll be. My fiance was. He did some stupid things when he was younger, and I'm kind of worried that our kids will take after him and do terrible things.
She'll just, she'll tweet it on her smartphone that she'll have in 4th grade.
No.
And maybe she won't use Twitter. Maybe she'll use something new.
Ooh, good segue. Introducing Librem Social, a new type of social media, which is really just like Twitter.
Well, it's different than Twitter.
It is different.
Because no tracking and no advertisements.
Which means no money, which means this will go bankrupt in like
no stealing your
a
data.
year.
Krista.
Actually, let's take our bets. When will we have a follow-up story about this? Where
The other one is still in operation, right? Gab. Isn't Gab still around?
I don't know. Actually, I forgot about that one.
I think it's still around. Well, it doesn't have anywhere near the number of users.
Yeah.
But there's enough people who will use this that it'll keep going. And I imagine that it's fairly cheap to run as long as you don't have a lot of users, right?
Yeah.
Host some video, I don't know.
I feel like that could get unwieldy quickly depending on how if it grows.
Well, yeah. If you're a Twitter, for example, then
which is Twitter's still not really profitable,
no,
right? Yeah.
not at all. Although they are public, so
Yeah.
they're getting money from the issues. But I don't think they are a profitable company, and they're definitely, more and more. Plus, you have the backlog, right? The further things go, the more you have to store.
Yeah.
Who knows?
That's why Twitch deletes its videos after 2 weeks.
As much as Donald Trump loves Twitter, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If Twitter announced that they were shutting their doors and they were about to fail, would he bail them out? That would not go good with his constituency.
Yeah, see, I don't know.
But he loves it.
He really does. He has to spew stuff on there quite a bit. I don't know. I feel like there might be a lot of people who'd be willing. I mean, maybe Wendell would chip in a few bucks if they did like the Wikipedia thing, where it's like, "Hey, we need your help to run the service." I could see Wendell donating a couple bucks to it.
He would shamefully do it. He wouldn't tell.
He would feel bad,
yeah.
But, and then we'd ask him if he did it, and then he'd go, "Yeah."
He would admit it.
He would, because he's too honest.
Well, Facebook, another social media behemoth, is profitable.
Yeah.
And
very profitable.
They are profitable because they invade your privacy. But everything's better now because remember, Zuckerberg came out and he announced that the new face of Facebook is privacy. Privacy is the future of Facebook, which really makes this headline weird.
Facebook reportedly thinks there's no expectation of privacy on social media. The social network wants to discuss a lawsuit stemming from the Cambridge Analytica scandal. Wants to dismiss.
So yeah, and they want to dismiss this lawsuit. And when you want to dismiss a lawsuit, you got to tell them why, right? Well, the Facebook lawyer says, listen, there's no expectation of privacy on Facebook, right?
It's I mean, there wasn't. But now they were saying that they were going to, so I was kind of thinking, maybe they'd do me a solid and, forget all my personal information.
This didn't work.
No.
The judge didn't go for this. Luckily. But you got to think that this is still the belief internally.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, how else are they going to make money?
Huh? I don't know.
We have another story about Zuckerberg later. And I would make a joke about that, but I'll wait.
This one's kind of about Zuckerberg.
This one is, yeah. This is actually kind of a cool story. Facebook is financing a massive solar farm in Texas. And I guess this is probably a generic photo of it.
I think this is a stock photo.
Yeah. Still, very cool, though.
Solar panels look cool.
Yeah.
You're still thinking about getting solar on your...
I would love to do that one day, but I don't know. It might be too expensive. Depends.
I think the battery is where it ends up. The expense comes in.
They do. I think Kentucky offers like tax incentives to do it, but I don't know if that'll still be around by the time we have bought a house.
Plus, I bet the China tariffs affect solar panels
Oh, that's
heavily,
true.
right?
Yeah, probably.
So you have to wait till after the trade war. And possibly the hot war.
And then the housing crash.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely coming because I bought a house.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're going to put up this solar farm, and it's going to provide a whole bunch, 379 megawatts of power, 4,600 acres. That's a lot of acreage.
That is a lot of acreage.
A lot.
Lot of acreage. That came out of Little Country when I said it.
It's a good thing they don't have to mow that.
Yeah, it looks like that's...
Can you
The
imagine?
stock photo is just dirt, but...
Can you imagine weed eating around all those solar panels? That would be a nightmare.
It would be terrible and also be very hot.
Yes, it would.
Like the birds we were talking about earlier, they get super heated.
So they're going to do this. They're going to use the power for their data centers, obviously, and they're also going to share some of that power with Shell, which is ironic, isn't it?
A little bit, yeah.
It's an oil company. They plan to be totally on renewable energy by 2020, which is
That's really soon.
pretty soon.
That's surprising.
Yeah.
That's kind of a good guy Facebook story. It doesn't really make up for everything else terrible they've done, but...
When they say renewable energy, does it count if they run off of the private details of their users as a power source?
Yes, the life force of their users. This is the story I wanted to reference.
Mark Zuckerberg has an AI suite in his home.
He does.
And it's a computer, but ironically, it tries to teach him how to be more of a human. And so, as a meme, people on Twitter, like, what kind of sycophant is trying to communicate with Mark Zuckerberg on Twitter? I can't imagine.
Do people care about Mark Zuckerberg
Oh, they
a lot?
do, because when he was talking
I'm sure
about,
he's fine, but
it was Twitter that compelled him to approach this man.
Morgan Freeman voices Mark Zuckerberg's AI assistant. How much do you think Morgan Freeman was paid for this?
A lot.
Probably a lot.
Yeah, because this is like a private, not even, maybe that brings the price down, but yeah, I'd say it was paid quite a bit.
Yeah.
Oops. And so, yeah, it's every day Mark Zuckerberg is woken up by Morgan Freeman's grandfatherly voice. Told.
Oh, that would make me uncomfortable, I think.
It's like, you must consume calories now, Mark.
You must fuel your inner systems.
This is a picture of the t-shirt cannon that he has in his closet that fires his nondescript t-shirts at him every day.
I look at that and I'm like, some people just have more money than sense.
Well, he has...
As we scroll up to look at the picture of Morgan Freeman, who voiced his personal...
Well, I'm not going to hold that against Freeman. That's
it's free money, yeah.
Free money. But I think Mark Zuckerberg has more money than all of his attributes.
Yeah.
T-Series. They've done it. They've won. The battle is over.
Someone play taps.
Press F.
T-Series is the first YouTube channel to hit 100 million subscribers, beating PewDiePie in the process. RIP. I wasn't that invested in this drama.
Well,
but
I hate that, a giant conglomerate. And that music is so bad.
It is a little disappointing because, PewDiePie is actually someone who got his start and his fame on YouTube and not just reposting other music videos.
Let's face it, YouTube should belong to America. And I don't like it that a foreign entity has the top spot. I don't care for that at all.
I don't know. Who else other than PewDiePie do you think could take over that spot?
No one is close.
Level 1 Techs.
The two of... Let me tell you, if Level 1 Techs got anywhere close to this, and we made that kind of money, I'd be out of here so fast. I'd be retiring.
To go mow your lawn in peace every day.
Somebody else will be mowing it. But yeah, no one else is close to the two of these.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, they were way out in front. And
it should be Jenna Marbles. Jenna Marbles could probably compete.
I don't know who that is.
She's like an original YouTuber from like back in the day. She's really funny.
I disagree. And I think, you know what? I would like if Level 1 even had the reach of this young lady.
I don't know her name, but Instagram influencer with 2.6 million followers struggles to sell 36 t-shirts. This was on I saw this article on Instagram Reality on Reddit, and I was doing some more reading about this, and like the t-shirts she's selling literally are just like black and white t-shirts with like her name printed on it. nothing else. Like not even a logo.
RE?
And they're not anything fancy. They're just plain. Like, cotton T-shirts you get from the grocery store.
This is not a T-shirt, but is this part of her clothing line? I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to find. Someone posted some in the Reddit thread I read, but I don't think that's surprising. Because like, why would if you're just on Instagram and you're just looking at them for their pictures, why would you bother buying their stuff?
And also, is it?
We might be making an argument against ourselves right now, but please store.level1text.com.
Are they? When you look like this and you're an Instagram influencer and you're selling women's clothing, are women your audience?
That's a good point. That is actually a very good point.
See,
I think it is kind of for some, like it's an inspiration thing. Like you look for fashion inspiration or like, oh, hair inspiration, goals, #goals.
Did you?
It's like you're not even hip with the young people.
I saw a front page Reddit post. It was from our curly hair. Are you on our curly hair?
I am.
But they speak out against straightening.
Oh, see, my hair's it's kind of straight today. I curled it yesterday, but
so you would have to live in shame if you were on.
Sometimes it's just easier to straighten it because it's less work because you can just brush it the next day instead of having to like redo it.
Not according to what I read. That was basically giving up on your roots, denying who you are.
Have you ever dealt with curly hair, Ryan?
That's
You
insensitive because
I was gonna say you don't really have a lot of hair to deal with anymore, but
all right. Well, that's all we got. Now tomorrow will be robots, which everybody loves. Design. Which
2 stories.
I don't know how people feel about design. We don't get a lot of feedback on that.
No, we don't. It's usually not a big section, so.
And nonsense. That won't be tomorrow. That'll be Friday.
That is Friday.
Tomorrow's Thursday, Chris.
Oh, of course. Yes, I forget.
Once again,
we filmed
dates
these.
are just escaping you today.
They are. I had to correct you before we started.
49.
Hey, today is Friday. I don't know the date.
7th.
It's in June. It's June 7th. Oh, I should know that because that's when my camping trip is.
Oh.
I'll be gone.
You know who won't be going?
Rue Dog.
Poor little dog.
Rue Dog's not going. Not on this trip.
She's going to be sitting the whole weekend whimpering,
She'll be with my fiance.
wondering where Master is.
No, she'll be fine.
Crying.
Listen, the place we're camping is like up on some cliffs. And do you really think that Rue should really be up on some cliffs? I don't think so.
Think she might just
yeet herself off?
Run
yes.
headlong through some tall grass?
Yeah.
Oh, the catcher in the Rue.
Oh.
A good spin-off. Let's talk about robots, Krista.
Let's do it.
First, let's talk about the Google Assistant. Do you use the Google Assistant?
I don't use any assistant.
Well, it's a good thing you don't, because it's oppressive.
It is. Oh, I can't see it because you've...
Oh, sorry.
Look what you've done. Really?
Sorry, I assumed that you had regular vision.
A white-collar sweatshop. Google Assistant contractors allege wage theft. These guys are linguistics. And they're not directly Google employees. They're hired by a third party, I guess.
They'll have a couple of these
contractors.
guys running a bunch of contractors.
Yeah.
Some of them even have masters or PhDs in linguistics. But they're just doing this grunt work. So the way they describe it is, let's say you want to set an alarm.
Okay.
On your Google Assistant. You say, Google, set an alarm in 15 minutes. Or you might say, Google, remind me in 15 minutes. Or Google, in 15 minutes, tell me. All of that has to work. So how do you teach an AI?
Or Google, I got to go do this in a minute. Let me know.
There you go.
And then it's like, oh,
I don't know
we can't handle that.
I don't know if they deal with the accents necessarily, but
that'd be amazing if they did.
All those combinations of possibilities of asking for things have to be accounted for in the AI. And humans are putting those in. And these guys are saying that it is just repetitive, horrible work. They are not getting any benefits. They're not getting overtime. And they're being told to work around the clock. They're not happy about it.
Working around the clock and not getting overtime, those are the worst parts of it, I think. Not getting benefits is crappy, but if you're not working full time, I can see that. That happens a lot in the U.S.
Technically illegal. And what they do is they dangle the carrot of
overtime.
If you work super hard, you might get to be a Google employee. And they have actually, advanced.
They occasionally advance someone to like, they just pull them out of the pit.
Keep them hungry.
Yeah.
But if you have a linguistics degree, maybe find something else to do. I mean, it seems like.
There's.
Should be some jobs for that, right?
I would think so. It'd probably be mostly research positions, but I would think that you could use that in some capacity outside of academics, like teaching language, but I guess it's still academic. I don't know. I don't know. If you're a linguist, tell us what you do.
I don't think we teach language in U.S. schools.
We taught French and Latin and Spanish at
not
ours.
even English.
That's, yeah.
What is your kill death ratio in Quake 3?
I didn't play Quake 3, so I don't know.
What? Wow. What a sheltered childhood. Well, it would be lower if you played against this opponent, because it would whip your ass.
Probably would. Oh, look what you've done.
Yahoo.
It really does that.
I like it when Yahoo, when a site automatically JavaScripts my cursor into the
search.
But then it makes the number pad not work.
Rise of the Machines. AI beats human in multiplayer shooter. That shooter being Quake 3.
So you might be thinking, big deal.
It's an aimbot, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
When you play against bots, you can turn it up to make it as accurate and fast as you want, and it will dominate you. Well, that's not what's happening here. This is capture the flag. This is a team sport. And the AI has figured out tactics to beat the other teams.
I wonder, the next step I would think would be doing a mixed human AI team. Because there's no compensating for the idiocy of your teammates.
See, I think the AI is directing the entire team.
Yeah.
So it would not be able to compensate for
the idiocy of your teammates.
Interestingly enough, when it started winning, they turned down the ability to aim and made it what they considered
to try and compensate it, yeah.
And they also slowed it down to quote unquote human speed, thinking. And it still won.
Wow.
It was still better. Robots can improve our lives. Mm-hmm. There's no question. And I hope that I ride that with the rest of my life. I ride that wave of robots just keep getting better and cooler and doing things for me, and then I'll die right before the revolution where they start to turn on us.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking forward to.
We're all looking for that ending to our story.
But if I get it, that means the end of your life is going to be dark.
Yeah.
Because you're probably going to outlast me for at least a few years. But
at least a few.
Along that, look, come on, you've got 10 years on it. These robots will make our lives better, I believe. Yes,
iRobot unveils Roomba S9 Plus and Brava Jet M6 robots that clean together. I think everyone knows Roomba's the vacuum, right?
Right.
I didn't know what Brava was. Brava is a mop.
It's a mop.
A mopping vacuum. And this story sounds a lot more exciting maybe than it is. They actually just kind of tell each other when they're done.
Well, the
Roomba.
vacuum goes first.
Yeah.
Gets up all the dust, and then the mop mops.
I kind of want a Roomba, but I can't justify the price of a Roomba.
Well, if you want the dirt disposal automatic base, it's going to cost you $1,300. That's just for the Roomba.
I hate running the vacuum, but I'd kind of be willing to do it.
That's just the Roomba. Now, if you want the mop on top of that, I think it's another $600 or $700.
The mop, I don't care about as much.
$500. Only $500 for the mop.
I struggle with hair. Rue doesn't shed a whole lot, but my own hair is just constantly I find long strands of it all the time.
There are little tufts of cat hair just rolling through my house like tumbleweed.
Yeah, and it seems like no matter how often I vacuum, I still find my hair and Rue hair everywhere.
Also, the cats don't like being brushed. All the cats I had growing up love being brushed.
They don't like it?
They're okay.
Do they not like the brush you have?
They want, but they want to fight the brush.
Oh.
If I start brushing them, they're just they just attack it. So, but I need to find something to de-shed them because it's getting crazy.
They might do that at PetSmart.
I'm not paying somebody else for that.
Well, listen, I've paid to have Rue groomed and stuff. It's worth it.
I love my pets.
Have you ever tried to give Rue a bath?
I take them camping.
You don't go camping. Especially not in June.
This AI that we're talking about, we need to try to stop it from taking over and destroying us all, right? And so our benevolent overlords are working toward that.
The World Economic Forum wants to develop global rules for AI.
I kind of think that places like Russia and China and the U.S. government won't care what the World Economic Forum says about AI.
But you don't know that.
And I think they'll just keep doing what they feel like.
I think the WEF has some good ideas.
Wef.
That's what everyone calls it. The WEF.
You think they refer to themselves as wefers?
They have like little bobby pins like you can buy in their store that you can put on, or like badges, patches you can put on your backpack. Wefers.
They throw up the W.
W. No, that's for the W3C.
AI knows so much about us.
It does.
It knows what to advertise to us. It knows, for example, when you get pregnant, it'll know before you do.
I don't know.
Oh, it knows. It's going to know.
We'll see.
And it knows your hopes, your dreams, the easiest way to destroy you. It knows all these things.
It's like a teenage girl.
Now it knows even more.
This creepy AI predicts what you look like based on your voice.
I was more impressed by this than you are.
I don't think it's not great.
So top row is actual
Who's
people.
speaking?
Now you can listen to the voice clips here. And then here's what the AI came up with.
I think that in another, give it a couple more, years or runs or whatever, and I think it'll be better, but I wasn't super impressed with it.
The old lady is not terrible.
It's not not terrible. She looks a little bit like an abomination in the AI.
I think it's because it's cutting off the top part.
Her eyes are also too high on her head and weirdly far apart.
This one's not complete. I mean, it's a very generic looking girl face, but it's like the ethnic traits, I think, are kind of there. This is a very generic black man. I don't know if that matches at all.
That's not matches. Honest. It does not.
This one is one of the better ones, I think.
Better, but not great.
Also,
I don't think any of them are great.
We're looking at an angled photo instead of straight on, so I think we'd have a better idea. None of these are looking straight on except the old lady.
Maybe that's why that one's even. Like I said, though, I think the old lady's kind of weird too.
Well, no, the AI didn't have anything to look at.
Oh, it just did purely on voice.
Straight voice, which is what makes it so impressive, right?
I guess so.
You guess so.
I think it'll be better. Give it another generation. Could be better.
Another thing that AI is going to start doing is police work. And I'm looking forward to robot detectives.
Me too, because all of our detectives we hired, and this is the police, are drunks.
It's true.
It's true.
You think robot detectives could get addicted to something?
I don't know.
Information?
Googling weird stuff?
In Chicago, they've turned some AI loose on old cases. And it's interesting what it's turned out.
Some bad news. Computer finds striking similarities in Chicago cold cases. These are murder cases that have not been solved. And they're thinking there may be a serial killer involved.
Now, the correlation here is they were all abandoned at really bad parts of town, their bodies. Some of them were naked, others had their clothes torn. It looked like there was some sort of sexual assault probably. And they were all black women in this, similar socioeconomic status. But these people are saying that the detectives didn't look hard enough and were too quick to dismiss what could be a serial killer. But then when you read into it a little more, they interview the one guy and he was like, well, yeah, she was addicted to crack and she had become a bit of a crack whore. So
that doesn't mean she wasn't murdered.
Well, but it does put her at risk.
Well, that doesn't mean the AI is wrong, though.
Well, no, it doesn't mean it's wrong, but it does.
I feel like that kind of highlights the biases of the detective even more. He's like, well, she was a whore. Well, it's like, well, she was still murdered and you should investigate it.
But crack whore, I think, adds a massive amount of risk.
It does.
And you can't discount that if you're a detective.
No.
Also, if this was a serial killer, he stopped killing for 7 years between.
That's what I think the Golden State Killer did something like that, where he'd go on a spree and then he'd stop for a while.
The AI people are saying that he probably went to prison.
Oh.
And then he got out.
It'd be interesting.
If it's true, then the last murder was 2017, so he could still
be
out there. So if you're thinking about heading out this weekend, trying to get a little crack, maybe think twice in the Windy City. Let's move to design.
Wendell will be there. Oh no, we should warn him. He's a serial killer.
He is known to
go and get some crack in the Windy City.
For crack from time to time. The design section, Krista, these are stories that you added.
I did. This one is not really a story so much as I just thought this was cool and kind of funny.
This is Cover Junkie, which of
This
course
could have been in nonsense.
everybody looks at, but it's Mr. Zuckerberg.
It's Bloomberg Business Week, who we hate their website because they always block us from reading their stories, but I thought this was a funny cover. It's him trying to make up excuses, but it's all done in programming languages because, as we know, Mark Zuckerberg's a robot. It's some real subtle commentary, but I thought it was funny.
If you're not much of a programmer, which I'd say most of our audience probably could work this out, it's a switch statement. So and the default case is user harvest, function user harvest. But when empathetic is passed to this switch statement, then it instructs him to cry.
Oh, that's hard for him, though.
Sweet.
That's hard. I don't think I've ever seen him cry.
Oops.
Did you just flash the
I did
next story?
that out of order. You know what? I'm not even going to segue into this one. You got a segue for this?
No, I don't. Other than this was some hot Reddit drama.
I saw this. I didn't include it because I can't remember why I didn't include it, but I definitely saw this all over the tech news sites as I was compiling the news.
Yeah. The North Face Wikipedia drama explained. So what happened here was the North Face hired an ad agency to...
We should point out that the North Face sells outdoor equipment.
They do, yes. They hired an ad agency to basically boost their search engine optimization and things of that nature. And the ad agency thought it would be a good idea to replace images of famous national parks and monuments with pictures of North Face gear on Wikipedia because they have the highest rated images in most cases.
Well, they didn't the park picture was still a picture of the park,
but it was always like North Face up front and center.
Right,
like
yeah.
it,
They
like
hired
if,
models.
yeah, if there was supposed to be a picture of like, you know, the geysers at Yellowstone, instead of just being a picture of the geyser at Yellowstone, there'd be someone right in the foreground with thumbs up with the North Face jacket on.
Do you think they got any of those pictures of North Face people on that the pile of corpses at the top of Everest?
Well, we can only hope. I bet there was probably some North Face gear used on that.
Maybe an opportunity for that.
But people were very upset by this. Wikipedia actually caught it very quickly, and they're like, they did not tell us this was happening. Like, we've had to go back and edit lots and lots of articles. Many people very upset about it.
Well, I don't think anybody would have figured it out, except they bragged about it.
They did, yeah. The ad agency was like, oh, we're so good. And then when they got caught and people were upset, and, you know, kind of understandably there was some backlash, they were like, listen, we're still awesome. We're sorry, but we're not really sorry. We're still awesome.
Do you use North Face in your glamping?
No, I don't have any North Face gear. I don't think. No, I have some Columbia stuff, but not
One
North
thing
Face.
you do have, student debt.
I do. I'm getting rid of that soon, but yes, I do have
You
it.
keep saying that.
I just need to call them, and it's annoying to have to call them because I have to call during business hours and just pay it off. But
You know what else you still have? An inoperable headlight on your car.
I am getting that fixed soon.
Oh.
So I had, like I said, I had to go to the family barbecue yesterday, and one of my relatives works on cars, and he said he'd fix it for me. But I need to go over there in like the next couple weeks and do it. So
Maybe you should go ahead and combo your student debt with that. Get
I
those taken
should.
care of at the same time.
the reason I don't just have it done is because you have to pull off like the whole front bumper on my car because it's a terrible design.
I don't know. I think you might still should hold out for that Elizabeth Warren put.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
You never know. If her or Bernie get in, you could totally get. Anyway,
That's not happening. Anyway, let's get on the story.
So here are your choices, right? Pay it off. Wait for Elizabeth Warren. Flee the country.
These Americans fled the country to escape their giant student loan debt. This is sad that this has to happen because in America, you cannot get rid of your student loan debt even with bankruptcy. Like, it sticks around with you no matter what.
Why is that sad?
Because it's the only kind of debt that's true of.
But
You can discharge any other kind of debt through bankruptcy, but not student loans.
it's sad that you can just get rid of debt like that. Because you shouldn't be taking out debt if you can't deal with it. So this guy went to India and he married this girl to get citizenship.
Right.
And so now he just lives in India in a concrete hut for $50 a week.
I mean, if he's happy.
He says he is. He says he's, feels like it's a non-consumerist lifestyle. There's their wedding. We also have this gentleman.
This is a really unflattering photo of this guy. It looks
He-
like his whole head is just like emerging out of his shirt. There's no neck or chin.
Wow, Krista.
I'm just saying it's unflattering photo. I'm
Way to
he
attack-
looks better in some of the others.
Way
But,
to attack the man's genetics.
yeah.
So this guy left. He went to China and eventually Ukraine to teach English. And I cannot feel sorry for this guy. So listen to this series of events.
Okay.
Gets a bachelor's degree.
All right.
English, I think.
In with you.
Can't get a job. Moves in with his parents. Starts delivering pizzas. Can't make enough delivering pizzas to cover the student debt. So what do you do?
Honestly, an English degree you should be able to get a job with. Like that's
But you're in
a
that
demand
situation.
degree.
You're in that situation. What are you doing?
Probably trying to find a better job.
Wrong. Go back to school. Get a master's degree in comparative literature.
Okay, that's no.
Right.
Why not get a TESOL license, which is English as a second language, and then do
And
what he's doing
then-
now?
And then borrowed more money and then fled the country.
English degrees are in high demand if you're willing to move.
Well, eventually
Curious.
he did. He went
Yeah.
to teach in China, but
You could have skipped some steps though.
still abandoned his, walked
His-
out on his
His
debt.
obligation. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got to think he's not in China now, but imagine if he was in China when the hot war breaks out,
No.
or he's going to a camp.
Have you started stockpiling for the hot war?
Oh, I don't think they're going to invade.
You gotta start stockpiling, Ryan. That's what all the prepper sites say.
You can't.
All the prepper YouTube
You
channels.
can't invade mainland U.S. That
No,
ain't
I
gonna
don't
work.
think that would happen either.
I would happily start shooting at some Chi-Coms if
Whoa.
that were ever the requirement made of me by my country. But you also, as we learned from The Princess Bride, I bet you haven't seen it.
Princess, I saw it once a long time ago. I don't
was-
remember it.
What was the number one rule?
It's been so long, I don't know.
Don't get involved in a land war in Asia. What are we doing?
Get involved in a land war in Asia.
Terrible. Krista, you have given up on your Overwatch dreams.
Getting to diamond. I don't think it'll ever happen. I mostly play quick play anymore.
Sad.
Hop in, play a couple rounds before bed.
Which seems like maybe you don't have an addiction.
No.
But could happen at any time, right?
Well,
Once-
Blizzard. That's the chance you take when you roll the dice on a Blizzard game. You might get addicted.
But as they say, you never get cured of your addiction. You're always in recovery.
Yes.
Right? So it could trigger at any moment. And the WHO
The who?
has decided.
Gaming disorder deemed an official illness by World Health Organization. Video game addiction is added to the organization's latest list of modern day ills. I feel like we had done a similar story to this. I had Ryan check the data on it because I wasn't sure. And it might have been a different organization that had added it. It might have been like an American organization. This is the worldwide.
It just occurred to me to change. It might have been that's what you just said. I had to parse that.
Yeah.
I had to move the story. It just occurred to me this one will make a lot more sense
Where it is now.
right after that
Yeah.
one.
PUBG Mobile, a 16-year-old in Madhya Pradesh, dies after playing for 6 hours. He died of a heart attack.
I have absolutely played RimWorld for more than 6 hours.
Did you get up and like move around every now
I've
and then?
streamed playing RimWorld for more than 6 hours.
I know you got up though because you had to go to the bathroom and do.
I probably peed once or twice during
Yeah.
that time. Yeah.
So here's my conspiracy theory about what happened. This guy is young, apparently a swimmer, was in pretty good health, but he had a heart attack. I'm willing to bet that he probably didn't move for 6 hours and maybe got a blood clot, and then it traveled and stopped his heart.
I imagine they probably did an autopsy. I don't know. They didn't say anything about that. But yeah, the family said that he reacted angrily to losing the last match and threw his phone and was very upset and then keeled over.
Yeah.
By the time they got him to the hospital, he was dead.
That's a thing I've seen in like gaming communities. I've read stories about where like make sure you get up and move around every so often. You don't want to get a clot in your
Well,
leg.
it's
or-
common to hear about the Chinese and the Korean cyber cafes where, remember, people would play World of Warcraft for like 48 hours and then
Yeah.
just die.
Yeah.
But that was some sort of cardiac exhaustion, I think. 6 hours wouldn't do that to you.
But they always tell you like when you fly in a plane or something like that, like you have to
look,
get up
Christy,
and move around.
this is like the raptors in the black hole. You have this crazy fear
Of the blood clot.
I'm not saying it's not a threat. I'm just saying statistically,
Well, also, it's
probably
just
pretty
nice
low.
to get up and take a walk every now and then when you're sitting at a desk all day.
Nobody's telling you not to.
You don't know that.
You know, you're getting your shell all curled up the wrong way about this.
That's a good segue. It's a lefty. Welcome to the world's first CRISPR snail baby. This is so there's a picture of a snail here, and apparently they usually have their shells curled. Was it to the right? Normally.
The right is normal, yes.
And then, but occasionally they will curl to the other direction, and they have genetically modified a snail to reproduce that anomaly.
I think the article did not say this, and I don't know this to be absolutely true, but I'm fairly sure these shells also curl on the Fibonacci,
Ooh.
a natural occurrence of it.
Do you think though, like that poor snail's like in great pain? It's just like, I was never meant to be this way.
So the article points out that 1 in 10,000 humans are also rearranged.
My future sister-in-law has
Their
that.
organs are on the wrong side. So this is apparently the same way for the snails. They also pointed out that it's rare that they find a snail like this, and when they were studying them, they captured a lefty snail, and they wanted to try to breed him with another lefty snail, but they couldn't find one for 5 years.
Oh wow, it's like a four-leaf clover.
Oh, I was gonna say Romeo.
Oh,
the Frog.
Romeo. Did we ever do a follow-up? Did they ever have kids?
They were trying, but he had not learned to mount properly.
We should Google that at the very end of this episode.
But anyway,
Stay tuned.
They eventually found a lefty girl and put them together, and they had 5 righty babies.
Oh, so it's really a
Yeah.
strange anomaly.
But they can CRISPR it, and sure enough, there's a lefty.
Those poor baby snails are like, Mom and Dad, you guys want to go to the park today? And they're like, we're in such great pain. We can't move.
I don't think... Is your sister-in-law in great pain?
No, she's fine.
It's
But it
perfectly
is
normal, right?
Yeah, they wouldn't have known, and like, except when she goes to doctor's appointments, and they're like, oh no, her heart's on the other side.
Huh. What if we find out that there's something like they have superpowers or something?
That'd be crazy. I'd be jealous.
Or there's some sort of like aliens planted here that they got something wrong. They were working off a blueprint,
but it was backwards,
but
so
it
it's
was
flipped.
photocopied.
Yeah.
Well, autism. That's a topic that comes up a lot when it comes to level 1 text,
I don't know why.
especially the forum.
Yeah.
And a lot of people try to cure it, but I don't think there is a cure. And you should watch out for snake oil, or in this case, snake bleach.
Amazon removes books promoting dangerous bleach cures for autism and other conditions. I guess some people were being told to drink bleach to cure their autism.
Drinking bleach. Now, I'm going to tell you, I'm no doctor. But drinking bleach will not solve autism. Apparently, there was a documentary about these quote-unquote cures, and that's what brought it to Amazon's attention. That's why they took it down. But for a long time, you could buy this.
Can you imagine how terrible that would be? Like, you already have, like, I mean, depending on how bad it is, it's already kind of like a sensory disorder. You're not really sure why people do the things they do, and then you have someone insane enough to pour bleach in your mouth.
Well,
And it's like, is this normal behavior? I don't know.
I think the parents are just so desperate.
Yeah.
Because there's been a lot of this kind of stuff. Well, like Steve Jobs. I mean, he was going to die. And he was so desperate, he tried that
All the crazy
holistic vegan stuff.
But he wasn't going to die at first though. Like, wasn't his form of cancer very treatable?
I think they could have prolonged his life considerably, but it would have killed him.
Eventually.
Like sooner than usual.
I think he had a really good recovery chance though, and
With that amount of money, I bet they really could have taken care of it.
yeah, I think he chose to go down the path he did. That's not here or there, but
Now, if you're one of those people who either refuses to or just can't remember to use your turn signal, drinking bleach will cure that. But you got
it'll make you more
you got to get a whole gallon of it in you in like 30 minutes.
really
time.
swish it
Yeah.
in the mouth. Get the mouth feel.
And if you vomit it up, you get to start on a new jug. But it will cure that. So, if you're one of those people, definitely look into that. Krista, slavery is an abominable thing to do.
You're
It's
right.
wrong on every level. And here at Level 1 Text, we take a stand against it. A lot of people think that's controversial.
To not like slavery
But
in this day and age.
I don't
to
care
this
what
current
they
year.
say. I take a stand. Slavery is wrong. But the question is, can the dead be enslaved? And we're not talking about garden variety of necromancy here. We're talking about holograms.
It's ghost slavery, the troubling world of pop holograms.
Here is Miley Cyrus, not dead.
Are you sure? She looks a lot like Hannah Montana.
Very much alive.
That's a dated reference that a lot of our audience may not understand unless they had small children during that time period.
So the question is, Mr. Tupac Shakur, if he is in fact dead and not hiding in Costa Rica. Michael Jackson, who I think is definitely dead.
Yes.
Who else have we done? There's some other dead pop stars.
I'm not sure.
But all of
those
these
are the
people,
two big performances I remember.
They have done hologram performances of these people. But who's to say that either of them would have wanted hologram performances of themselves? Is it slavery to take a dead person and make their likeness perform on?
I wouldn't call it slavery. I feel like that's not quite the right word, but I could see it being disrespectful to the memory of the dead, depending on like what they wanted or what their family wants.
But can we?
Though there's probably some families who'd be like, "Oh yeah, get them
Yeah.
performing so they can keep making money for the estate."
Can we let the family make that decision?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like if you're a famous person, you're gonna have to put that in your will, like no holograms.
Oh, that's a good point.
Like that's gonna be a thing that celebrities have to do is no holograms,
But
no deepfakes.
If I own the footage of the performance, can you stop me?
If it's in your will.
No, let's say that you do the Super Bowl halftime show.
Okay.
Right? And then you die.
Okay.
And I, the NFL, own that footage. So I take that video and convert it into a hologram, and then I show it. Can you stop me?
I think a good lawyer could.
A ghost lawyer?
Someone who specializes in ghost law.
Anyway, that's the point of this Guardian article. And Miley Cyrus is in this episode of The Black Mirror because they covered something similar to this, where it's like a pop star who has a robot pop star counterpart, and the line begins to blur.
That's an old story. I think there was an anime about that, like in the 90s. That's my weeb trivia. I'm sure someone can tell me the name of it.
Well, they got those K-pop groups that
do that now, yeah.
Have you ever used an e-scooter?
No.
Have you used a regular scooter?
I have. And every time you hit a little rock in those scooters, like you just careen madly all over the road.
So you're saying it's a jarring experience?
Yes.
Well, you know what probably would be even more jarring than that?
Swedish startup to bring pogo sticks to San Francisco as e-scooter alternative. This is filling a demand that obviously is great in San Francisco. Look at these people.
This might be the worst idea.
Oh, click play. I want to watch them. I want to watch them pogo.
That's not a video.
There's a big play button on the side.
That's a share button.
No, it's not. No, up there on the other side.
Oh, you're right. You can only click that specific button.
I don't want to watch this guy. I want to watch them pogo stick down the road. There we go. Oh, this is a shoulder.
Oh, slow-mo.
Oh, think how cool you could look commuting to work on a pogo stick.
They're making so little forward motion.
That's the thing, is it's like you're spending more effort. I kind of get the scooters. Because it's like, you're going a little bit faster than if you were just walking. But like, why would you take a pogo stick?
But they do point out that this could also be a fitness thing.
Or used as a weapon for blunt trauma in homicide. I guess the scooters could be too, but like they're a little more unwieldy.
You could if you got someone on the ground and then pogoed them, that would be really.
Put your mouth on the curb and then you pogo stomp them.
Although you'd have to have a lot of dexterity to like pogo onto a human body and then maintain control of it.
Yeah.
And what would you call a company like that? I hope you didn't see it.
I didn't see it.
It's kangaroo, but can go roo. Maybe Roo could be there.
Their mascot. She's not a kangaroo, but her name is Roo.
You think she could pogo?
No. She does that's one of her remaining issues that we're still working on. She likes to jump when she gets excited.
That's perfect for this ad campaign.
Yeah, but I want to train that out of her. It's a bad habit she has, is trying to jump.
Maybe you should try bleach.
Pouring bleach into my dog's mouth? Yeah. Yeah, that's totally fine.
Chrissy, you're getting married.
I am.
The day is rapidly approaching.
It is.
What is your level of anxiety?
I actually have no anxiety. I'm kind of ready for it to be done.
What is your level of desire to have giant monsters join you at the podium?
Well,
The altar.
until I saw this article, it was 0, but now it's changed.
You have to admit this is adorable.
It is really adorable. Official Pokemon weddings are now a thing in Japan. Let's scroll through the article and look at the pictures.
So here we go. Bride and groom Pikachu will join you at your ceremony. Nice. You will get
The
a cake.
cake is cute.
Now this is like a cookie Pikachu kissing. These are macaroons, Pokeball macaroons.
You know what I like about this is that it's like a regular frosting cake. So it's, it's not all fondant, which is like inedible anyway.
Do you think this ribbon is an actual ribbon or is that edible?
That's probably edible, but it's probably like fondant, which is that stuff I was telling you about.
I'm familiar with fondant, Kristen.
I don't know if you watch Food Network as much as I do.
Several episodes of Cake Boss.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry you watched Cake Boss.
I watched it back when it was cool and it was early. Is that still on?
It is still on. I
Really?
never liked him. I liked Duff. What's the name of his?
I tried some other cake building shows. I didn't care for them.
I like.
I didn't like the reality show part of it, but just watching them make those cakes.
That's
I
really
could watch
cool.
that
I
all
like
day. Yeah.
Charm City Cakes is the name of the bakery, but I forget the name of the show. I liked that one.
I think
better.
my cake show days are over.
I watch it when I go home and go to my mom's house because she always has Food Network on or DIY.
At my parents' house, it's always just CNN, and at my aunt's house, it's always like ghost hunters and stuff like that.
I'm sorry. I actually like watching like the DIY stuff.
Let's get back to the Pikachus.
Anyway.
Here we go. Kissing Pikachus.
Oh, and amid your florals, which is nice.
Yeah. What color flowers are you doing?
Mostly just white and yellow.
Oh, racial purity, right?
Well, no, I did yellow because I like the color yellow.
Invitations. Your invitation was not Pokemon themed, and I felt that was a huge loss.
Yeah, it was illustrated though.
Yeah, but it didn't have any Pokemon branding at all.
It didn't. No, there was none on there. It was just a picture of me.
I imagine
And
this
my
is what, a
fiancé.
flan, maybe?
Some sort of Jello, maybe. Yeah, and it's got like the I think that's actually all of this stuff is really cute.
Yeah.
I'm not really into Pokemon, but if I was having a Pokemon wedding, like this would be perfect.
And the little top hat really sets it off.
Yeah, well, she's got a veil.
And
The female
bow tie.
Pikachu
Yeah,
does.
These are great. So, what do you think you get paid to be in that suit for an entire wedding?
Considering how expensive anything relating to a wedding is, probably untold riches.
But is any of that going to the actors in the suits?
Probably at least some. I don't. It's really like just everything for weddings is expensive. I said I'm not really anxious about getting married. I'm anxious about finishing the planning because there's still like so much crap to plan. And like at this point, I don't really care. I'm just happy to be getting married.
Well, I'm going to say 3 words to you right now, Kristen. I want you just to give me your instant reaction. Right?
Okay.
Accidental sky penis.
That's my only reaction is giggling like a 12-year-old. We had to Google this, which like Wendell's search history is like just ruined forever. Penis sky drive drawings in Arizona were accidental, Air Force says.
There it is.
That's a sky penis.
I saw some pictures that weren't at an angle. They were straight up, and it was very much more phallic and penis-like in the straight-up pictures. But you can definitely see.
Oh, I think even that is pretty clear.
Yeah. So the Air Force has said this was normal training operations. This was not an on-purpose penis. I guess you do some tight loops.
And
then
it just happens.
And then a big turn. I like evasive maneuvers of some way, description, and you get the sky penis. They haven't necessarily apologized. They've just said, hey.
It was accidental. I like that The Independent, though, if you scroll to the top here. So the first article we tried to read had deleted the photo. I like that this one, they put like the apostrophes around it. Like it's accidental.
Wow. Yeah.
Penis.
What are the odds?
Yeah, and it's perfectly formed. I mean, it's not even like it's not even pretending.
It's one of the finest sky penises that's ever been rendered.
It's been graced to the skies.
We've talked about the British porn license.
Yeah,
That
was several months ago.
in the works for a while, and they decided to do it, but it has never come about. They couldn't figure out like the details of the plan or what it's actually going to look like because it's so stupid. Well, now we can finally see the design Krista doesn't like it.
No, the British government's new masturbation prevention system. It's not really even a title, but okay. So they have the UI down here,
There
and
you go.
I don't like it because it's like 2 columns and like
Well,
I don't
okay,
know, it's
so
strange.
this is a temporary section over here.
Yeah,
Where you can get started, or you can click the not now, because
you can opt out.
Right now, you can opt out. Now you won't always be able to opt out, so that might go away. That might be why. And
But
then,
I mean, even the other screens have the 2 column layout.
now
like
you can
that.
put your PIN code in. How do you get a PIN code? Well, there's this ridiculous process where you put in your ID. This website is not scrolling well.
No.
You answer all these questions. You set your PIN. It looks like a very unpleasant process.
And how is this going to scale to mobile?
I
Like with
imagine
that
it
weird
just-
photo and like
I say it just all collapses to this.
whoever did this design is influenced too much by brutalism and not by like just good UX practices.
Brutalism.
That's a type of design.
That's
It's actually very popular right now, and I'm not opposed to it for the right client. But like this gets in the way of usability.
in the context of masturbation. The word brutalism.
I'm talking about the design type of brutalism.
Well, it's a brutally bad idea, but those of you living in
Britain.
that horrible kingdom will soon be dealing with it. So,
They're united.
unless of course you use a VPN, like all of you will do, to get around that
Using
stupidity.
one from level1text.com.
Oh yeah, we have affiliates.
We do.
Private internet access, and you can use gift cards from major manufacturers rather than putting in any payment details in case the crown ever tries to come after you for your dalliances online.
You think it's just Queen Elizabeth? Like this is her new initiative, and she comes to your door with
She shows up.
her retinue of corgis, and she's like, "Excuse you," but in a British accent.
She's got like one of those little hooked shelling knives.
A nutcracker would be maybe more appropriate.
That's even more horrific. And on that note, we will end.
Oh, we
Let's-
were gonna Google something. We had to Google something. We were gonna Google Romeo.
Oh,
Romeo and
okay.
Juliet, the frogs. Before we go, we have one more thing. Google it real fast. Because I want to know. And I know you need to go home and feed your cats, but I need to go home and walk Roo too.
I have to not only feed the cats, I have to buy food for the cats because they eat so much.
Romeo the frog. Look,
That's
he has his own little
January-
sidebar entry
That's
on Google.
January 16th. Oh, here's his Twitter.
Oh, he has a Twitter. The loneliest frog. Fan account. They really want you to sign in, don't they?
This is just a bunch of garbage. This is not really
So
any
there's no
updates
news
on
then.
Romeo.
No news then. We know you guys were concerned. Click off of it. There you go.
What is this?
It's just frog related information.
Frog love story. When was this?
Probably in January.
April 10th.
Oh,
Yeah, they're not giving us the Romeo updates that we need. I imagine he probably managed it.
scroll. I hate videos like this where I can't get to the information I want to.
Well,
It's like when you're trying to find, like, you're having to like look up a technical problem
let's
and the
go to
only solution's a
Romeo's.
video.
Is this his Wikipedia?
He has a Wikipedia page.
No, this is New York Times.
When was this article posted?
Probably gonna get paywalled.
Server error.
It's not up anymore.
What did Romeo say that he's being blacklisted?
He probably said some white supremacist stuff.
Oh, that's really disappointing if that's
Some
true.
frog supremacist. Although he's from the Amazon, so I guess
Yeah.
he would be more of a native frog. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get any information, Chris. I'm sorry.
Oh,
There he is. Look at it.
look at his precious little face.
Look, he's all like wrinkled up over here.
Oh, listen. Love it first swim. Finally, the first day. So there's no updates.
Support their Happy Future registry. What do you get a frog?
Oh. Well, scroll down some more, bud.
Well, I'm trying to. Oh, home furnishings.
A baby room. Oh, no, it'd be a tadpole room. This article's wrong. Babysitting. Oh. Someone had to do illustrations for this. That would be a fun project.
Froglet college fund. That frog's not going to go to college. How much do they want?
Where's the company credit card?
$25
Listen, it's expensive to start your life together.
monthly. $25 a month would feed like 30 frogs.
Well, listen, they have a lot of babies at once.
All right. Are you satisfied?
I'm satisfied. We have an update. Hopefully we'll hear about tadpoles soon.